Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A busy afternoon for us because a ton of news over the weekend. We knew the NBA playoffs, a lot of baseball, but we also knew the NBA Combine was set for Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock, and it was a pretty good afternoon for the Memphis Grizzlies. They will select number 3 with that first pick in the NBA draft. So we'll talk a lot about the NBA draft, who they will be taking, could be taking at number 3, also with that 16 pick, and then the pick in the second round. Plenty to talk about with the draft, but a lot to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm well. I'm doing well. You doing good?
I'm pretty good. I'm all right.
I hope you and Landon's mom had a great day yesterday, did they?
Yeah,
I trust they did.
No, they
good.
at least
good,
on my end they did. So
good, Landon, everything good with mom?
Yeah.
It was a great weekend.
Good.
Excellent.
Good. Glad
Excellent. Excellent. That's a good way to start the week. And boy, did we get a Mother's Day gift for all Grizzlies fans yesterday. Had to be that feeling of winning the one of those multi-state Powerballs, didn't it?
Yes. No, it was a really, really good afternoon. And, that the moment that they said the Grizzlies have jumped up into the top 4, you knew that it was going to be really, really fun. It was just then which pick out of that top 4 were you going to get? And it landed with the Grizzlies having the number 3 pick. So that changes a lot in terms of, how we talk about this draft, how we talk about the guys that they could possibly get at number 3. That changed a lot going from that 6-7 spot all the way to up to number 3 is definitely massive for them. And we're going to talk to DeMichael Cole here at 3:30. Usually talk to him at 5, but he's going to join us at 3:30 this afternoon. He's actually at the Combine. That's one of the reasons he had to move up. They're starting their measurements and everything like that. So yes, he will be live from the Combine. So we'll have plenty to talk about with him. But yes, yesterday was a lot of fun to watch the Combine.
How'd you like to be the Sacramento Kings and lose all those games and draft 7th?
Sacramento Kings and the Indiana Pacers, who at least the Kings get a pick. The Pacers don't even get a pick without losing all of those those picks.
But they did go to the NBA Finals a year ago.
They did, and I think that is kind of the saving grace for them.
That does have a long shelf life.
Sure, I mean you're getting your superstar back next year, so that's got to help. And I thought it was really interesting. Their president of basketball operations came out last night after the
great player in the day.
Yeah, no, he definitely was. But he came out yesterday after the draft lottery, and this is what he tweeted. He said, "I'm really sorry to all our fans. I own taking this risk. Surprised it came up 5th after this year. I thought we were due some luck, but please remember, this team deserved a starting center to compete with the best teams next year. We have always been resilient." So taking a lot of the blame, saying, hey, this is on me. This was a risky situation. I went out, took the risk, and it didn't work out for us, but still committed and still hoping to grow. So, I thought that was really, really cool to see him kind of go out on social media and publicly say, look, this is my fault. This was a risk. It happened. We lost out on it. Let's move forward now from this.
I did too, Brian. And I do think, especially sincere and really, really meaning it, apologizing after you've made an error of some type, of something that you can control. I see nothing wrong with it, but I think you just have, I think there's a finite number in I'm sorry's from management or coaches to fan bases. The number may be 1.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can say I'm sorry too many times.
Yeah, and I think that's the point of all this and kind of that bigger picture of what do you do now? The Pacers have to move forward from this. I think you feel good bringing back your star player from injury. You obviously brought in a center that you needed with that trade, and so it's can you go out there next year and be back to being a competitive team that they were before the injuries and what this last season was? Can you go out there and still compete? Because if they go out there this year and have Tyrese Halliburton back out there, and they're still one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA, then nobody is grateful for that apology from the higher ups. It's well, we should have never made that trade. We should never have been in this situation. So you got to move forward after something like that, and time will tell if the Pacers can move forward.
It is, I'm sorry, the easiest thing on earth to say, and sometimes one of the hardest things to really do and prove and really mean. But I think when you've been in era, you're right to offer it, and I think you're even bigger if you're the offended one to accept it. Now, can an entire fan base accept it? The only way you accept it is by winning.
Yeah, no, winning is the name of the game, and so that will be the big question. But for the Grizzlies, the number 3 pick, the lottery fell out. Washington won it at number 1, the Jazz number 2, the Grizzlies 3, and then the Bulls 4, and then we talked about Indiana. Their pick goes to the Clippers at number 5. So the Grizzlies at number 3 now. What do they do with that pick?
The debate is on, and it will be fun. Almost guaranteed to get a player that can help. Now, does that mean he's going to the Hall of Fame? Is it the player that turns around the franchise? Is it the new face of the franchise? What if it's for the Grizzlies and it's Cam Boozer? We get to call 12, don't we?
That's right. Yes. And that will be I know
the last one hung up on us.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the question I remember us talking about 6 months to about 3 to 6 months ago about once they move on from Ja Morant, how long does 12 kind of stay in the equipment room until you issue it to somebody else?
Immediately to Cam Boozer.
Yeah, Cam Boozer.
Immediately, and start moving on.
Yeah, no, that will be the big question. Is
stylistically, dynamically, fundamentally, on the floor, off the floor, start moving on.
Yeah, and so that's going to be the big question is who is the guy at number 3? Right now, if you just look at a lot of the mock drafts that are going, pretty chalk. It has Cam Boozer at number 3 to the Grizzlies. Obviously, now there's the debate about Cameron Boozer and Caleb Wilson. Even the idea of what happens if A.J. DeBonza is taking 1 with Darren Peterson, if maybe the Jazz take someone else. And a lot of chatter, the Jazz trying to move up to number 1 to get A.J. DeBonza for obvious reasons. So I think a lot still to be done before draft day, but we did get that clarity yesterday. We know the Grizzlies are going to pick number 3, number 16, and number 32, and we can kind of start, honing in on a couple prospects that could be at each of those spots.
But the big takeaway, great day for the Grizzlies, a franchise that needed good news. Now, is this going to be overnight, or and neither Washington or Utah doing it either? Nobody's drafting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No.
It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be 2 years. It's still going to be a lot of patience with the Grizzlies going forward. I know they don't want to put a number on the rebuild, but I think in fairness, everybody at minimum is 2 more years. Playoff spring of 28. If that's what I had to sign up for right now, I'm talking playoffs, being in, not any play-in stuff. 6th seed, whatever. I would sign up for 28 now, and next year is going to be some growing pains.
Yeah, no, it definitely will be. And so, the thought is just go out there and get players that you think, best available, team fit, whatever you see at each of those 3 picks, and then just try to lay the foundation, get guys that you can really bring in and start this new era, that you can start building around those guys and start building a team that can really compete in the Western Conference. We know how tough the West is. It's not going anywhere. Even that Utah Jazz team, you look at their roster, some of the moves they made last season, it feels like they could make a jump this next season. So, it's always tough in the West, but you just got to start building that foundation. We'll see if they can do that, and we'll see how busy they are around draft day. Obviously, the big question is, when do they move Ja? What does that trade look like? But also, you look at that 16th pick, you look at that 32nd pick. Do they try to move one of those picks? You've seen a lot of people saying, try to package one or both of those picks to try to move up a little bit in the first round, to maybe try to take one of those guards. So it feels like it's wide open in terms of what the Grizzlies could do before the draft is over.
Really good options for the team, and that's why yesterday was so good for them to have more options and not feel, like a little bit of hamstrung. But, Brian, for all these players, this may not be the best radio. I've always thought the best radio was honest radio. instead of, hey, Brian, you say up and I'm going to say down. Let's have a big cat fight for 3 hours. I've always thought the best radio and the best radio was the entertainment is in the sports. I don't need to be on here juggling or bringing my guitar to the studio or any clownish act like that. And I say all that, I don't know how great a radio I'm going to be over this, but there's not anybody I really want to fight over or go, oh, no way on Peterson, or no way on Caleb Wilson. No, it's got to be Boozer, or you got to deal up and get this one or that one. I think the options are great, and I don't really want to fight over it, and I want to really trust the front office one more time on this, one last time on this.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the options are really, really good at that number 3 spot, no matter who.
Oh, no, they're not, Brian. There's no options here. You got to take so-and-so or you're a failure.
Well, I think the good thing about this draft is I don't think there are many people with.
You can't really believe that.
No, I think.
See, I don't want to do that.
No, I definitely don't. I think the options are really good. I think you've got a lot of different options that you could do going into it, and so I think it's going to be fun. I think these next couple months or a couple weeks going into the next month are going to be really fun. Obviously, the combine this week we'll learn a little bit more. Now, the problem with having the number 3 pick is you'll see the measurements and stuff from Cam Boozer, but you probably won't see a lot of him on the court. That will be more around who you're going to take at 16, who you're going to take at number 32. But we'll get a lot of information over the next couple of weeks and kind of get a better idea on where the Grizzlies might be going with all 3 of these picks.
One of my favorite things / least favorite things about the combine, we will get legitimate measurements. You also used to, especially when the college players, I think you may still with the NBA, you get real, true measurements around Olympic time. And I remember Danny Manning and the Miracles, Kevin Pritchard, a team of his on that 88 KU run, and he was always listed as 6'10", and you just thought somebody that big like Magic Johnson, even bigger, that had that handle. He goes to the Olympic tryouts and he's 6'8", and he was 6'8" during the entire Seoul Olympics in '88. And then magically in his rookie year with the Clippers, he was back to being 6'10".
How about that? Wow.
Great. He didn't grow. and what I want, the strict tape I want to see at the combine is just how tall Darius Acuff really is.
Yeah. No, it's a really good question, and we'll see. What that ends up being. It still, looks like he's going to be one of the top point guards out there. And so, we're going to learn a lot of terms of measurements and then, see a lot of these guys, not all of these guys out there on the court. But I love the combine. Really excited for these next couple of days. I mentioned DeMichael Cole going to join us from the combine. So we'll have plenty to discuss with him. And he's getting ready to see some of those measurements in a little bit. But yeah, between, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, if Darren Peterson were to fall, if you're one of those people that say, hey, even though you have 3, go get that point guard that you think's the best point guard in the class. I mean, I think the options are all over the place, and I think they're all really, really good options. So it was a great game for the Grizzlies.
Christian Laettner was another famous one in '92 with Dream Team that shrunk and then was back to being 6'11".
I love that. That's just that's such a great visual of, shrunk for the Olympics, then you jumped right back up to that size when you came back. You'd think that once you get that official measurement at the Olympics, you would just go, okay, my cover's blown. Let's just stick at that height. Everybody knows what my height is now. No reason to fudge it anymore, but I guess that's not the case. I guess they say, well, if we say I'm 6'10", let's go right back to 6'10". Why not?
And I don't want to spend too much time on this because we've got so much other to get to. But tell me, Brian, once again, does anybody know the draft order before the presentation begins? Because it was said by who was hosting. Whoever was hosting said when the person came out with envelopes, that's the only person that knows these.
Yeah.
I thought they knew in the back when I was asking for tells or signs or stuff.
Yeah.
What is it?
I think so. I don't think the people that come out like Tayshaun Prince and all the people and John Wall, I don't think those people know until it's announced. But they do have the media and other people in the room while it's going to, maintain that it's going. But those people are sequestered afterwards, and so they are locked in a room until the draft lottery is over. And then they can go out there.
I know Michael Wallace was telling a great story last week, one morning with Greg and Eli, about the year of who? And Alvin Gentry was the general manager and exclaimed very happily, not going to be any trades. And I can't remember it was a player that just no doubt was going to go number one. I can't remember who it was, but he knew, and he was out on the stage.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that was just my theory, because like you said, I heard them say that this is the only person that knows the pick. So I don't know how it's done. I know that there are the media and people that are back there. They are sequestered until after the lottery is complete and shown. Because I saw a couple people tweet out, and they were in the room, and they were like, "I'm out of the sequestering room. Here's what I saw back there."
And with the Pelicans, it was Zion Johnson.
Yeah, that's why I figured it was, but so I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if those people are still in there and then come out, or if now they've changed it since then. I really don't know, because that was interesting when they said that. I would like to see the honest reactions out there. I would love for the people that are on the stage to not know until it's announced. And some of the reactions, maybe they've changed it. I don't know, because I know when Con Knipple, even though there was no way in the world that Charlotte was going to jump up there, when they announced Charlotte at the 14th pick, he kind of made a face of, oh man, well, I didn't know we were going to be that low. And so who knows? I don't know what that looks like for the people that are out there on the stage. But we have a very busy show today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, he'll join us. We'll talk a lot about the draft lottery, the combine, the players, a lot to get to after what happened yesterday for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's at the NBA Combine, so plenty to discuss in our next segment at 3:30 with DeMichael Cole. 3:45, we'll talk some NBA playoffs, might talk a little more draft lottery in that 3:45 segment, but a lot of NBA talk to wrap up the hour. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us, talk college football and college basketball. A ton to get into, but we'll get his thoughts on some of these guys. Again, this draft this year is very, very heavily leaned to the college guys. You look at any mock draft, the first round, it's pretty much all college guys. So David Cobb knows these guys. He'll be able to tell us what he thinks the Grizzlies should do with that third pick. So we'll do a lot of that at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we will talk some baseball in that segment. A really fun weekend around Major League Baseball over the weekend. So we'll do that at 4:30. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio. He'll join us. It's PGA Championship week, so a lot to get to at 5 o'clock with Doug Bell, as we will talk about that tournament. And wasn't a great weekend for me in the picks, but it hasn't been a great year for me in the picks. So.
Double money this week.
That's right. Double money. This
used to be Glory's last shot. It's the second major this time.
That's right. Now it's the second major. But for us, this is where we pounce, Brett. This is where we make the big jump and try our comeback.
And none of us had Rory.
Yeah, well, that's
really just four. Just four
that's
picks.
true, but still, not great. Not great. But we will do that at 5 o'clock with Doug Bell. 5:30, we'll talk about what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Expo, it's going on right now. The Battle of the Brands. 7 manufacturers are all fighting for your business. Hot Tub starting at $34.99 with Swim Spa starting at just $16,999. Mention this ad and receive a free cover lift with your spa purchase. So head out there to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. Our producer's Landon Schmidt. We're Sportstime. We're live and local and with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will join us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always live from our Family Leisure Studios. In this hour, brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2026 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's inside. Personal Lexus, you get top of the line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it is the NBA draft lottery. We now officially know that the Grizzlies will pick number 3 in the 2026 NBA draft. Now we'll start learning a lot about these players. The debate will be on about who should the Grizzlies pick. But what I think is the great part about this, and what I think will make the next month and a couple weeks really, really fun, I don't think there's really a bad option. I think you make a great pick if you take Cam Boozer. I think you make a great pick if you take Caleb Wilson. I think you make a really good pick if it's Darren Peterson. If he falls, I think a lot could happen, and it would be a really, really great pick for the Grizzlies. We'll find out in the next couple of hours what the measurements are for all of these guys. Some of those measurements already rolling out. I'm seeing on social media, it looks like, according to Jonathan Gavoni, Darius Acuff's official height, 6'2", barefoot, 186 pounds at the NBA.
They called him 6'3", I'll roll with it.
That's right, sure. You know, he's right there. Cameron Boozer, his official measurements at the Combine, 6'8" and 1/4 and 252.8 pounds. So
what's 6'9" among friends?
That's right. You know, honestly, I'd do a lot of things to be 6'9", Brett. I do a lot of things to be 6'8" and a quarter, you know.
5'10" would have been fine.
Well, yeah, sure, you know, I would love that type of height. So I'm not gonna knock any of these guys for being a little shorter, but I do think the option's really, really good.
I think if I'd been 5'10", I would actually had the ball go through a basketball goal in a real game.
It certainly wouldn't have hurt, you know, the having a little more height. Well, I think you might be onto something. But it was a great day for the Grizzlies. Now we'll see what happens over the next month and who that pick ultimately will be on draft day.
Yes, yesterday the ping pong balls were very kind to Memphis and to the Grizzlies. It will guarantee us a good player. Almost can't be messed up, assuming Durant and Peterson are gone. It'll come down to Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson or maybe one of the point guards. It could include Darius Acuff. And somebody's going to burn somebody else. Somebody's going to have a better player out of that group. It might be the Grizzlies that look up and at a Hall of Fame ceremony someday going, boy, glad we didn't get such and such or draft so-and-so. Or it could be us being burned very badly. I'm not going to have hindsight. I'm going to do that for this front office. I'm not going to, in a few years, go, oh, you should have turned left when you could have turned right, because it's that close on a lot of these players. But I am glad it worked out this way. I think it will sell tickets, and it's very important. Mm-hmm. This is the future of the franchise in Memphis at play. There's a lot of pressure on.
Yeah. No, there is a lot of pressure for sure.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, we'll stick in the NBA and talk the NBA playoffs. The weekend was a lot of fun. One series already wrapped up as it was a clean sweep for the New York Knicks. Get the brooms out, 144-114.
What happened to Embiid buying all the tickets he said he was going to buy?
That's a great question, because that was not the case. And they really just did not have anything throughout that entire series. Just blowout after blowout after blowout. There were at least one close game in there, but man, that final game to wrap up a sweep, to give up 144 points, whew, that is hard to watch. The other series have been a little more fun. I guess the other two, the Thunder and Lakers, have not been, and the Thunder have the opportunity tonight to sweep the Lakers in L.A., but the Pistons and Cavs, we talked about that on Friday, thinking that the Cavaliers could go out there and win a game. Well, they did that over the weekend. That series now 2-1, Game 4 tonight in Cleveland. We'll see if the Cavs can take another one and even this series. And then Spurs Timberwolves all knotted up 2 apiece. Victor Wembanyama ejected early in that game last night after throwing an elbow right into Naz Reid's neck. And with him out, it was really hard for the Spurs to compete. 114-109 final score. The Spurs made a little bit of a run, especially in that third quarter, but the fourth quarter, it was all the Timberwolves to tie that series. So that one looks like it's going to be a really, really fun one. But we'll see what happens in these 2 games tonight. Again, Detroit on the road against the Cavaliers. That game starting at 7 on NBC. And then Thunder Lakers, 9:30 on Prime. Should be a fun one tonight.
Right, my not top story. I'm so glad for so many reasons the ping pong balls fell our way. First of all, for the great loyal fans of the Memphis Grizzlies that have had to endure 2 of these last 3 years. I'm glad for this franchise. We needed this. The loyal fans needed this, but also we needed it for this, to stop the dumb talk about cursed, haunted, bad karma, that we need some sage sprayed around the building. That's all a bunch of garbage. That's talk of losers. That's loser talk that some outside force is costing you. The thing that's cost the Grizzlies more than anything else has been really poor management and some really bad luck with injuries. The bad luck with injuries doesn't have anything to do of the building's built on a burial ground. That's stupid talk. It is the talk of a gigantic L loser. And I'm hearing too much of that talk out of Razorback football fans. No, you had back-to-back Chad Morris and Sam Pittman as coach. You hire really good people, you get good results. I heard it for years that Ole Miss, we're cursed, we can't get out of this. No, we got our act together and got things righted.
Yeah, and so hopefully that's what happens for the Grizzlies, and hopefully it starts with this draft, or at least already started, maybe with some of the previous draft picks as they get older and more experienced. But yesterday was a ton of fun. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to our first break, and when we return, we're heading up to the Combine to Michael Cole from the Commercial Appeal. He joins us next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, and gemstones to watches. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com and Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet piquilla peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes. Or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger-buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. We can't wait to serve you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cornova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, Yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Memphis, your Saturday mornings are about to get a little spicier. Get heaping helpings of SEC sports with the Back Porch, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, starting at 10 a.m. Back Porch features experts interviewing big-name guests, discussing big-time topics, and chopping up all things Southeastern Conference. You'll get plenty of facts, opinions, and perspective, all of it about the SEC. The Back Porch, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting a little bit heavier right on schedule, certain sections of Sam Cooper going outbound. Still moving over here right now on 240 East coming past Mill Branch, getting on to 385 Blue Morris Parkway going outbound. We'll be longer for that. Gets a little bit heavier here the next 15, 20 minutes out towards the Collierville area. Hey, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. If you can help these kids, please log on today. stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck when you're on time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we've got to talk more about the Grizzlies, more about the lottery, everything that happened yesterday. And joining us now, usually joins us at 5 o'clock, but nice enough to join us a little earlier this afternoon. It's DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. You're up at the draft combine that's getting started today. All the measurements are taking place this afternoon. What's the feeling like up there? What's the vibe like in Chicago for the draft combine?
No, I mean, good vibes, right? The Grizzlies have found out they're going to get the pick in the top 4, so I think that's exciting for a lot of people, and quite frankly, you know, you just want to know what happens from here. I mean, all the guys are here. You know, I've met the Boozer and his family. We saw Caleb Wilson. We saw Darren Peterson, AJ DeBranto. All those guys are here. A couple have already been measured. Some are going through that process. You know, over the next couple of days, you're going to see agility drills. We talked to them on Wednesday, so yeah, but definitely good vibes on the Grizzlies side, getting in that top 3, top 4.
It was a great day. DeMichael, keep LeBron away from Cameron Boozer. We don't want him telling him not to go to Memphis.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that to happen. But I tell you what, even if it does, the thing about being number 3 in this draft is you firmly put yourself in the top 4. And the thing about the top 4 is that's kind of been what we've deemed as like the separator of talent. So, I mean, you'd love to come out with a guy like Cam Boozer, but I don't think anyone would be crying about getting Caleb Wilson in this draft either.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So it sounds like kind of you saying that, it feels like you are on the kind of Boozer train of take him. What do you make of the debates that you're seeing between Boozer and Wilson? What do you think the upside, the pros, the cons, what do you think goes into making that decision between those two prospects?
Well, here's where I am. Because if you talk about, you know, I believe in the upside of Caleb Wilson. Mm-hmm. You know, I really do. And I think it's very situation dependent when you really want to just break down the nuts and bolts. Because both these guys, I mean, when they played against each other, it sucks it was only one time because Caleb Wilson got hurt. He got the better of Boozer in that first half, and then Boozer got a little bit more aggressive in the second half, and the numbers kind of evened out over the course of the game. But I think if you're in a situation where you kind of got a rebuild that's from the floor, I think Caleb Wilson as the high upside guy really makes more sense, honestly. But the situation in Memphis, here's why Cam Boozer makes a lot of sense, particularly because He can play the 4 in Memphis. I think he'd struggle, when it comes to the 5. I really do think he would struggle because, there's the fact that he is he has some physical limitations there. I think he just measured about 6'8" and 1/4 without shoes, so he's probably going to be a guy, 6'9" and a half or whatever, and has a wingspan over 7 feet. But the thing is, when you saw him play at the collegiate level against the more physical, the bigger teams, that's where some of the struggles came in. Those were some of the games where he hovered around or shot under 50% when you had teams who had guys who were as physical as him. But when you didn't have a guy who could match his physicality, you got bullied and you got beat down. And the thing about Memphis is, if you put Cam Boozer in a situation where you put Zach Edey at center and you put him at the 4, that plays into his strength. You look around the NBA, teams are getting bigger, right? Small ball is slowly starting to die out. But still, all those teams, there aren't a lot of 6'9", 250-pound power forwards just walking out there. And that's what he is. So he's going to have that physical mismatch on most nights. Maybe, off the top of my head, I think of you got a Julius Randle in OKC. They got a nice thing there with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. And, there are a couple more teams for sure. I know Houston, when healthy, likes to play the double big lineup. But the thing is, he's going to be a mismatch on most nights. And whereas Caleb Wilson is, the size thing doesn't matter as much because he's quick pitch type athlete. He's, explosive and things like that. Whereas I think the footwork and the physicality are more strength of Cam Boozer. And those things will come into play in Memphis because you can't just put a center on him in Memphis and throw some smaller guy on Zach Edey because you'll get punished that way too.
DeMarco, through the years, I've had my of Zach Kleiman. Criticism of Zach Kleiman. There's no part of me that believes that if it comes down to everything being even, Boozer, Wilson, Boozer, just down to the legit coin toss, that he's going to take Boozer just because of Duke and him a Duke guy. I do not believe that. Am I right in that?
History would say you're right? Justice Winslow, Luke Kennard, Grayson Allen. The list goes on. There's more than that. Tyus Jones, even though he was here, a
lot of those guys worked out well, though.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that Duke pedigree, right? And we know that, Zach Kleiman spent some time, at Duke. But the thing is, I think the Grizzlies would agree that when you look at their roster right now, how many guys are you looking at on their roster and you say, being highlight players doesn't win you championships. But I think from the standpoint of, you're talking about a team with a coach who is emphasizing running in transition. If you want to run in transition, you need some guys who can finish above the rim. You need some guys who can get out in the break and run. And Caleb Wilson is more of that player than Cam Boozer, right? So, when you watch Caleb Wilson play, you're going to see a lot of, transition, him dribbling the ball with score, him being found, lob opportunities and things like that. That would really correlate to some of Iselo's principles from the standpoint we want to get out and run. And part of that, think of a guy like Jalen Wells. As good as Jalen Wells has been over his first couple years, right? Especially that rookie season. First team all rookie. But he's a limited athlete in a way. So when you talk about having a wing that can run the floor and finish in transition, that's not his strength. And, it shows up a lot, which is why he wasn't really a good finisher around the rim by the numbers. But he shot the ball well and things like that. So you talk about players that can kind of translate into what they want to do. From the standpoint of running out in transition, Caleb Wilson fits that. So that's why it's I'm not going to say, especially not this early on. They still got to work these guys out. They're going to put them through the ringer, all that stuff. I'm not going to sit here and just say it's a done deal that it's Cam Boozer because Caleb Wilson is and from the conversations I've had, I think it's pretty fair to say that, the Grizzlies are going to do their due diligence with this pick. There's no, that's the guy we like, and we're going to choose him guy yet.
you talk about Cameron Boozer and kind of playing that 4 position for the Grizzlies. A lot of people have talked about his shooting. Do you think this is a guy that would be able to step out and knock down threes at the NBA level?
Cam Boozer?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. You're talking about over 3 attempts per game in college, and did it efficiently. Was a very efficient college shooter as well. A lot of spot-up 3-point attempts in that role. I think he can definitely. I mean, the form looks good. The mechanics are good. You could tell, he came up, from that tree, right, where his father was a really good mid-range shooter in the NBA. And now you got those guys who, were mid-range shooters. You pretty much just take it a step out. Now the mid-range shot isn't as valued as it once was. And his son is taking a 3-point shot. But, I firmly believe he'll be a good shooter in the league.
And DeMichael, his dad was a good shooter out of the box, out of college, in the NBA, but he worked at it. And Cameron Boozer will work at it, too. He's going to put the work in.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to put the work in for sure. And, that's all you hear about it. For one, you just do the research on Cam Boozer. He's a winner his whole life. And when he was on the floor at Duke, that was an incredible team. And it was hard to see them losing this season. And it's still, look what it took for UConn, to win that game. And I think if Braylon Mullins misses that, incredible shot, at the end, or, the point guard, Caden Boozer, hangs onto the ball, Duke's in the national championship.
Yeah.
And Duke beat Michigan earlier in the season. Not saying that they would have won it this time around, but Duke firmly beat Michigan, and Cam Boozer was a big part of why that happened early in the regular season. So, this guy's been a winner all the way through. If you want a guy who's going to come in here and really help you play winning basketball, he's that. And again, from a fit standpoint, I just think it's cleaner when you talk about playing alongside of Zach Edey and Cedric Howard. He's the cleaner fit. Now, Caleb Wilson, I love the upside. I know I can't say it enough, guys. I think we didn't even get to see him scratch the surface of what he can be as a shooter at North Carolina.
Will John Morant be traded?
Yeah, I don't think that's changed. It's kind of wild because now with the Grizzlies having a number 4 pick, it's very unlikely that their top pick will be a point guard. And with that being the case, you can talk yourself into the argument of, okay, maybe they should keep Ja. Maybe it makes more sense to keep Ja. But, again, it's one of those things, talk to people around here, it still doesn't seem like that's the likely scenario.
I've heard that. I've heard, let's try it one more time with Ja.
Yeah.
Are people forgetting he won 1 playoff series? He's not a consistent outside shooter. He will not play on-the-ball defense whatsoever, and he has a high propensity of being injured. Have people had amnesia?
I think the thing there is, while you talked about, a lot of those downfalls, it's $42 million. It's the money, too. You're talking about a $42 million next season, and then even higher the year after that. I think it's over $85 million that you're on the books for the next couple seasons. And you're talking about a player who, over the last, 3 seasons, just hasn't played much. I forget the exact number off the top of my head, guys, but I think it's somewhere in the 70s in games played over the last 3 seasons. So you factor all of that in, and you say, no, we're trying to turn the page here. Cedric Howard was pretty available this season. Could have played even more if, the Grizzlies would have had other priorities towards the end of the season. Zach Edey, you're hoping this thing has run its course, because everything in college will tell you that this guy was going to be a durable big in the league. And then, on top of that, you factor in the fact that Cam Boozer, he's solidly built, right? 6'9", 250. He's built like a guy who can be a durable, player, in the NBA. So you really just turn the page, right? And I think, look, Ja has been great, for the Grizzlies when he was at his best, right? He was an All-NBA talent, and you can make an argument that they didn't milk everything out of this situation, but at the same time, I think it's pretty safe to say that the page is probably going to be turning soon.
Yeah, and when you talk about Ja Morant, I've seen some people throw it out there, and even not including Ja Morant. Do you think there's a chance, or what do you think the likelihood is, that the Grizzlies will try to move maybe up from that 16 pick or up from that 32 pick, maybe get to the back end of that first round? How much, or what do you think are the chances that we could see the Grizzlies trade one of their last 2 picks?
There's definitely a good chance of that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, just go back to last season.
Mm-hmm.
You remember where the Grizzlies were before they traded for Cedric Howard?
Yeah.
They were at number 16.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they moved up. They moved up to 11. So, I mean, the president has been set, and in that case, they traded a future first. So you're gonna have to give up something probably pretty good, in order to do it. I think it sounds good to a lot of people, but the thing here is, you got a new potential draft lottery reform that's going to go into play here in a couple weeks. And if/when that passes, you're going to be in a situation where I think a lot of teams are going to be much more hesitant to trade potential lottery picks. Because if you finish in that 4 to 10 range, you got as good odds as anyone to get the number 1 pick. And that would be something tough to pass on if you're a team that probably feels like you have a decent roster and you have no business getting the number 1 pick. But again, you finish in that 9-10 range or whatever. You put yourself in that position. So I think some teams are going to look at this situation and say, let's hold on to some of our assets. But I think the Grizzlies, being that, I think the Nets, maybe the Thunder, are the 2 teams that have more draft assets than them going forward, because the Grizzlies are stocked, man. They're stocked. They have all the future first-round picks. They have future first-round picks swapped. They have unprotected picks from the Magic, from the Suns. Like, they got a lot to work with over the next 5 years here, so they can afford to make that big swing. And if one of those guards falls and they like them, I could see it happen.
Yeah.
DeMichael, the last 4 years, so 82 games times 4, Ja Morant, a potential of playing in 328 regular season games. He played in 140.
Yeah, there you have it. So, again, like, you kind of feel like you got to turn the page because of the reliability factor. Like, talent-wise, I mean, it'd be cool to see Ja out there, and you got Cedric Howard, good shooter, and then you got Cam Boozer, really solid shooter. Zach Edey has shown the ability to shoot the trail three-pointer. So you're going to have, shooters around him. It's going to spacing. We'll see if Jalen Wells or Gigi Jackson or someone else emerges, as another potential wing option, like how that works out. But I'm sure that player is going to be someone with two-way potential as well, given the way that they're trying to build this roster. So it's kind of a roster that's going to be built to play to Ja Morant's strengths based on what we've seen from him in the past. But I just don't know if the Grizzlies, are willing to invest in that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a fun next month and a half as we get ready for the NBA draft and see who the Grizzlies take at that number 3 spot. DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of this week. Enjoy the Combine, and we'll do it again next Monday.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, DeMichael. Michael Cole joining us from the Commercial Appeal. He's up in Chicago for the NBA Draft Combine. I know he's going to have a bunch of good stuff coming out over this next week and really throughout, always putting out great content, but there's going to be a lot of draft stuff coming over at the Commercial Appeal from DeMichael Cole, so make sure you go over there and check out all of his work. But we need to get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk the NBA playoffs.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I have so many people tell me they hear my ads on this station and that they want to know if I'm really as bad a golfer as everyone says. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and yes, I hate to say I am. I wish I were in my 90s because I could then tell people I shoot my age. But being a bad golfer is not terrible because I devote so much of my time to selling homes to keep my clients happy. Over the many years in the real estate business, I developed a highly successful strategic marketing program, not merely a listing program. Using preparation, presentation, and proper pricing, it works. If you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. That's Shell Dunn Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. Shell Dunn, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything, from the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving 2 purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920.
Listen up, Rebel fans. Your next winning drive starts at Landers Ford in Collierville. Their game plan is simple. Find you the most savings possible. Make a trade, lower your payments, or let them buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from them. That's how you keep moving the chains. Just like the Grove on game day. Fans all across the Mid-South keep coming back to the #1 Ford dealership in Greater Memphis. See them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. When you own a Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech with the Landers Ford Remote Service Experience Program. They pick it up, drop it off, or fix it on the spot, so you're never left watching from the sidelines. To finish the drive, the iconic Landers Easy Pass always brings more for your trade and the biggest discounts to put you in victory formation. And now, straight from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that took down #1 ranked Notre Dame, the final snap of the day from Landers Ford President Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. As reported on Ford's 2024 Total New Vehicle Retail Sales Report, Memphis Market.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. In the wake of recent storms in the Mid-South, we saw severe damage, and our prayers go out to all those impacted. Believe it or not, much of this damage has still not been discovered. Most of us do not look up and take notice to displaced shingles, small water stains on our ceilings, and many of the silent ways water attacks our homes. This type of silent damage is unsightly, and if left for a period of time, become unhealthy to you and your family. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out, evaluate any concerns you may have, from climbing your roof and evaluating your shingles or TPO to opening a wall or ceiling for further inspection. We get paid to look up and climb. If you have an insurance claim that requires restoration or need a contractor that accepts all insurance carrier scopes, Metro Builders understands the way to restore a home or office either back to its pre-existing condition or upgrading that space. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717 or MetroBuildersMemphis.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we've talked a lot about the NBA lottery yesterday afternoon. The Grizzlies get the #3 pick, but also over the weekend, a lot of playoff action. One of the series, over in the Eastern Conference, already complete as the Knicks. A clean sweep over the 76ers. They wrapped that series up yesterday afternoon, that game starting directly after the draft lottery. 144-114. It was another blowout for the Knicks, and that was kind of what this series was. It was all New York from the first game. They won 137-98. There was the one pretty close game in Game 2. After that, Game 3 was pretty easy, and then the blowout in Game 4. It really never looked like Philly had much of a chance in this series.
And Joel Embiid talking about that it was a successful year for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't know, what the expectations were going into the season, if this is a successful season. But, when you've got Joel Embiid out there, when you've got Paul George out there, when you see what Tyrese Maxey is doing this season, I think you expect more from the 76ers. I mentioned Maxey, but, when you've got those guys as the leaders of your team, I feel like you expect more. And so, yeah, it was going to be hard going up against the Knicks, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't have made those comments after losing Game 4, especially the way they lost Game 4.
Philadelphia hadn't advanced past the second round since going to the NBA Finals in 2001.
Wow.
With Allen Iverson.
Wow, that's hard to believe, but it's where we're at, and it feels like we always talk about the 76ers team again because of the a couple of the guys I just named and how they've been around. It always feels like, okay, this is the year the 76ers are gonna really advance.
I never buy preseason picks.
No,
never.
But it's always out there, and people are trying to sell that, and so I guess after the way last season ended, and it was a really, really bad season, and you go out there and you've got a great pick in the lottery, you get VJ Edgecombe with the third pick. I guess if that's what the bar was, of let's just be better than what we were last year, then yeah, I guess it was a very successful season. But I think anytime you've got those type of players on your team, the expectation should be a lot higher than what it sounds like they were set. Now, going into the playoffs again, you're playing the hottest team in the Eastern Conference with Boston. You got past them, but still, I would not make those comments. You can believe those things. I just wouldn't make those comments after getting blown out in Game 4 and really blown out an entire series.
Brian, how do you think Boston feels?
Oh yeah, Scott, we talked about it last week with Keith
Smith.
Lost
on the parquet to a team that couldn't scratch in the next round.
It's got to be brutal to see because they're sitting there going, we would have played this Knicks team way better. We would have beaten this Knicks team if we had seen them in this round, but they didn't, and they didn't have it, and obviously not having your star player out there for Game 7 certainly hurts. But yeah, you got to be watching that series and just going, man, that could have been us.
And now Jalen Brunson can really write his name in Knicks history and lore. He can.
Yeah, no, he definitely can.
And not by winning at all, just a NBA Finals appearance, I think, would really separate him.
Yeah, and now the great thing for the Knicks, because of that sweep, they'll have a lot of downtime to, get, rejuvenated and kind of, all those.
Do all the shows.
Sure, of course. They're going to
be on all the 10:30 Central Time shows.
No, they definitely will be.
The two Jimmys.
Sure, but the biggest thing is, you get some rehab time, you get some downtime, you get to relax a little bit, because this Pistons-Cavs series, I still think Detroit's in a really good spot, but it's going to go on for a couple weeks.
That's the last thing they need to be doing. But what the Knicks need to be doing now is not talking parade routes or doing the shows, nothing but work. Let's do it, and that'll do our talking.
Yeah, no, and I hope that's what they do. It's hard to have that mindset in New York when you are being asked to do all of these things and you're in one of the biggest markets. But they'll now sit and watch, and we'll see how long this Pistons-Cavaliers series goes as Game 4 tonight, and we'll see if the Cavaliers can even it up at home. But they'll get a little downtime, and then they'll see one of those two teams.
Brian, you gave us one on the picks. You picked Philly, and you're 10-5 even with that. You just gave us one. That was being nice.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to give it to y'all. I didn't really believe it, but it was just kind of, I felt like there was a chance.
It was a fighting chance.
There was a chance.
Just toying with us.
There's always a chance with the Knicks that it just completely they come out flat. And so, I think sometimes you just got to bet on that, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But over in the Western Conference, the Thunder, an opportunity to sweep tonight against the Lakers in LA. That game 9:30 on Prime Video, and then the other series that will get back in action tomorrow night. Timberwolves and Spurs all even up 2 apiece. So 2 games tonight, and then we'll have the 1 game tomorrow night. But let's go ahead, get to a break, wrap up this first hour. When we return, college football and college basketball with David Cobb.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
Old Dominick Distillery is pouring Memphis pride into every cocktail. From the winning atmosphere at its downtown Memphis distillery to award-winning craft spirits, Old Dominick is pure Memphis spirit through and through. Swing by the distillery bar for a pregame cocktail or celebrate your wins with a guided tour and tasting. Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Steady flow of traffic trying to push south to Memphis right now. Pretty much on schedule this time of the afternoon over here on 55. It's starting a little bit heavier southbound coming past 3rd there in that construction zone. It's heavier than it was 15-20 minutes ago. Certain sections of Sam Cooper, especially going outbound over here passing Perkins. Hey, bridal season just around the corner. Shop local. Do it this week and save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck when you're on time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour on this Monday afternoon. We've got to talk some college football and college basketball, and joining us like he does at this time every single week, it's David Cobb.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is national college football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports, where he covers college football and college basketball. David, yesterday was a fun day for the city of Memphis, as the Grizzlies will have the number 3 pick in the 2026 NBA draft. And the beautiful thing about this year's draft, it's really good. It's really deep, according to a lot of experts. But most of the players played college basketball last season, so I know you've had eyes on a lot of these guys. So tell us your thoughts on Cameron Boozer, who most people are mocking the Grizzlies will take at number 3.
Yeah, I really like his game. I cooled on him a little bit the last month of the season, but there was a time there where I really thought he should be getting more consideration to go number 1 overall or number 2 overall. Then you saw him up against lengthy NBA style post players down the stretch during his freshman season at Duke, and he did struggle a little bit when pitted against elite level shot blockers. But the reality is that a lot of that was when Pat Ngongba was hurt, and Ngongba was their 5, and so Boozer had to play the 5. He got in some less favorable matchups. But you look at him as an NBA prospect, he's a 4. He's a 4-man, and if he comes to the Grizzlies, well, Zach Edey's your 5, so he would be the starting 4 next to a 5, and he wouldn't be matched up all that frequently with the long, rangy 7'6" wingspan type of guys. So, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, I could really see him being a good fit for the Grizzlies at 3. He's a very high floor, high IQ player. Not going to overwhelm you with his vertical leap. You think back to like the last couple of Duke power forwards who have been kind of in that range, or however you want to classify power forward versus small forward. You got Cooper Flagg, you got going back to Zion, you got Paolo Banchero, right? Like all these wonderful forwards who have come out of Duke over the last several years, and he's a little different than all of them in the sense of, he doesn't quite have the face-up game that Cooper Flagg does in terms of stretching the floor. He's maybe, I would say, a little better at that than Paolo Banchero, at least coming out of college. And then he differs also from Zion in the sense of, like, he's not this, like, explosive level athlete, but he's a much better passer. He's really sure-handed with the ball, makes the right play pretty much all the time, and you can just see it, right? Because he's got that NBA pedigree. He's Carlos Boozer's son, and no shock that the son of a former NBA All-Star is a really good player himself, and he thinks the game at a really high level. He doesn't look like a freshman, so he could come in and play and be really good pretty early for a guy who's still really young. A lot of times the one and dones, they need a lot of seasoning in 5 or 6 years before they hit their ceiling, but I mean, Cam Boozer's a guy who could be operating at a double-double sort of average 3 years into his pro career. He's refined. He's solid. He's well built. Look, like, I think the injury concerns for the Grizzlies are so real with everything that Grizzlies have been through health-wise that, like, the durability of a player has to factor in when you're looking at him. And I look at Cam Boozer, I see a sturdy, durable, high-floor sort of forward with some versatility to his game. So at number 3, they've got all the options at 3. I mean, they could go Boozer, they could go Caleb Wilson, or they could have their first pick of those lead guards. I mean, there's the guards who we thought they would be picking from at 6. Well, they'll all be there at 3. So the options for the Grizzlies here, not to mention trading possibilities. Just really a wonderful situation for a front office that is well known for thriving in the draft to really put their money where their mouth is there in terms of living up to their billing as a great drafting front office. So I love where they landed. It's so nice to see the Grizzlies get some good news. And if it is indeed Cam Boozer at 3, then I'll be quite happy about that for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay, David, let's fast forward. It's 45 nights or so from now. The Grizzlies are on the clock. DeBance has been taken by the Wizards, Peterson by the Jazz. You're Zach Kleiman. Make a pick.
I think I can go Boozer. I think you could argue Caleb Wilson has higher upside. I think Cameron Boozer has a higher floor. Like Caleb Wilson, not as refined maybe at this stage. He's more athletic. A little bit longer, although still looking through the measurements today. I don't know if I've seen Caleb Wilson's measurements today, but I think he's a little bit longer than Cam Boozer. And so maybe over the long term, like maybe the perennial all-star ability is there with Caleb Wilson, but I think Cam Boozer is a better passer. I think he's more efficient from the floor and just he's closer to being a finished product at this point than Caleb Wilson is. So that's not necessarily a reason not to take Caleb Wilson, But if you're looking for a sure thing, I mean, Cam Boozer is about as close as you can get when you're talking about a one-and-done freshman prospect. He's a real deal. So I would go Cam Boozer. Now, the Grizzlies, they may have already fallen in love with a guard. They may have just assumed they'd be picking 6, 7, or 8 and talked themselves into a guard already. Who knows? But if not, if you're really just looking at best available at 3, and I think they should be, because you can fall into the trap in a lot of sports sometimes with picking based on franchise need. And I think we would all say the need is most glaring at point guard. But you still have another pick. Like, as of now, you're still picking 16th in this draft as well. You could trade up from there, get your guard with your second pick in the first round, or stay there and get whoever's there at 16. Or you could get your guard via the trade market with whatever sort of return maybe you're able to get for Ja Morant. Maybe you could turn that into a guard somehow, right? So there's other ways to fill that need rather than using the number 3 pick on that guard. And so for that reason, even though the need may be more glaring at guard, I would just go best available. And in my mind, I'd give Cam Boozer a little bit of an edge over Caleb Wilson at number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with Cameron Boozer, here you know what you're getting. It's very safe. I don't know him. I don't know his dad. But I would be shocked if you're getting medium to high maintenance. I would be shocked if you're not getting the worker. I would be shocked if you're not getting the first there and the last to leave. I would be shocked if he's not a guy that works on his game every year. I said earlier, David, somebody's going to get burned. So it might be Cam Boozer on his way to Springfield someday, and Darren Peterson or DeBanza along the way happen. The Grizzlies may take Boozer, and Caleb Wilson makes you pay in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with what you said, Brett, on Cam Boozer. He's going to be a low-maintenance guy. And given what we've been through with the last 3-4 years in Memphis with Ja Morant, I think having a low-maintenance superstar sounds pretty nice right about now. I actually think Caleb Wilson fits that mold as well. He's a really, really impressive young man. But to your point, I mean, you see it with Darren Peterson. I don't think anyone's calling Darren Peterson low-maintenance right now. And for that matter, A.J. DeBonsa and some of the bluster you already saw coming out of his camp pre-lottery about where he wants to go and where he wants to be and what destinations might cause him to pull an Eli Manning. And, right? And it's just like, I think he's a good dude, but, like, you don't want to have to deal with that. And I think Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson, would either one of them really check that box? I mean, you know how to be a pro because that's what you grew up with. You grew up with a dad who was a pro, who is very active and involved, but not necessarily in an overly meddlesome or tiring way. Because I think we all understand why having an involved father might be a little bit of a concern for the Grizzlies. But this is a guy that knows what it means to be a pro. He knows how to get out of the way. And you know what? He's not going to be trying to live vicariously through his son. You know why? Because he's already done it. He doesn't need to live vicariously through his son because he already had the experience. Now he's going to step back and let his son have the experience. Right? I think we all I'm saying there. Yeah. So I think
you just described Dale Curry.
Yeah. Well, there's another undersized guard who I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. Like Dale Curry, I think does a really good job of letting his son shine. You know, and for that matter, Carlos Boozer may also have 2 sons in the NBA one day. Caden Boozer's not going to be there yet, but he might end up there. And so you could very well see that sort of situation where the father who lived it is there cheering and supporting without being overly meddlesome. And that's what we're all going for here after the Ja Morant experience.
If the Grizzlies draft Boozer and in 2 or 3 years there's incident, drama, melodrama, high maintenance, I give. Then there's just no way for anyone to not be like that.
I mean, yeah, it's I'd be shocked. Given what we saw from him at Duke, now granted, there was a certain level of comfort and confidence that Carlos Boozer had in seeing his sons go to Duke because he understood even though there wasn't Coach K, that it's part of that Duke brotherhood, right? He's got a reputation to protect within that program himself, so he wasn't going to be a problem there. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's different in the NBA. Maybe he doesn't feel like his son gets used properly at some point, or maybe he disagrees with the coaching or the front office or something like that, right? So I guess you never say never, but there's a really good E60 on the Boozer family, and Carlos and the mother of his 3 sons, they had a really difficult situation to navigate because their oldest son had a very serious health condition growing up. And anyway, go check it out. It gives you a glimpse into what the Boozers are all about, and just sort of the gift that Cam and Caden are to that family. And when you hear that, you're like, oh man, they've been told their whole lives they're God's gift to the earth. Maybe there's some entitlement there. I never saw that. I never, in the year that I watched Cam Boozer at Duke, he never seemed to assume that that the world was his for the taking just because of his name and the name across the front of his jersey and all the accolades. Like he works, man. Like he works hard on the floor. He works hard behind the scenes. He says the right things, and he's a winner. He is a winner. Going back into high school, I mean, it was just title after title after title. This guy knows how to win, and so I think there should be a premium placed on that as well. And I think that separates him a little bit from everybody else who we're going to talk about in terms of who the Grizzlies might be able to pick, and for that matter, the number 1 overall pick, the number 2 overall pick, A.J. DeBonsa, great season, not with a great team. Darren Peterson had flashes of brilliance, but he was a headache. He was a headache to deal with. And then you can look at Caleb Wilson, North Carolina. They won some games, but different sort of situation. I think that Duke program's a really healthy program. They got to figure out how to get over the hurdle late in March. We all understand that, but I love where they ended up, and I love the option. If it maybe it feels like it's definitely Cam Boozer right now, but we still got a ways to go until draft night, and there's a number of things the Grizzlies could do with this pick. But if it's Boozer, that's going to be a really, really happy night for Memphis.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with everything you just said. And I think for me, the biggest thing is with Cam Boozer, obviously, he was the star. He was, the top prospect, all of that stuff. But to see Caden Boozer, that was the one where I was like, all right, I feel like Caden could be the one that gets in a mood and gets pouty at Duke, but he just goes out there and works, and whatever role he has to play, he does it. I would not be mad if next year at this time, 2 years at this time, if the Grizzlies are in a spot and Caden Boozer's in the draft, go ahead and take Caden Boozer if you've already have Cam Boozer on the roster and let those two guys play together again. But you talked about measurements. So I have both Cam Boozer and Caleb Wilson's measurements from the draft combine. They are almost identical except for one category. It's the one category that you already know they're going to be different at. Cam Boozer's measurement, height barefoot, 6'8" and 1/4. His weight, 252.8 pounds. Wingspan is 7'1" and a half, and his standing reach is 9. For Caleb Wilson, his height barefoot, 6'9" and a quarter, so he's an inch taller than Cam Boozer. His weight is 210.8, so obviously a lot lighter, which you already knew that. Two completely different style players. Wingspan, 7 foot and a fourth, so just a little shorter than Cam Boozer. And standing reach, the exact same, 9. So very, very similar in terms of measurables. It's
What
just
about three-cone shuttle?
Well, we haven't gotten to that yet. Well, we haven't gotten to that yet, but they're very similar. It's just kind of what style of player do you want? Do you want kind of the more fundamental Cam Boozer, or do you want the guy that's going to get up and down the court, the more athletic option with Caleb Wilson?
Yeah, well, that's encouraging to hear that Cam Boozer actually has a slightly larger wingspan. Yeah. My expectation was that maybe it would swing in Caleb Wilson's direction. Cam has a sturdier, more built frame with the additional 40 pounds. Now, in terms of like open floor acceleration, the overall, once they do vertical jump, that's where Caleb Wilson will separate himself, not only from Cam Boozer, but from a lot of guys, just in terms of the athletic ability. But the refinedness, Cam Boozer was like a 35, 36% three-point shooter as a freshman in college basketball. Caleb Wilson's still got some work to do to get to that level. So long term, is the potential ceiling higher for Caleb Wilson because of his athleticism? Yeah, I would say so. But I also think there's an outcome there where maybe the outside shot never really does come together, and he doesn't quite have the same sort of passing knack and feel for the game that Cam Boozer does, and so that maybe it ends up that Cam Boozer has the better NBA career. So I'm not always the proponent of playing it safe, but I feel like this situation kind of calls for it with the Grizzlies because you're trying to build for the future, and when you're doing that, you want to have a solid, firm base to build from. That describes Cam Boozer. Solid, firm foundation, right? It's all there. It's all there. You don't have to wonder, like, what could it become? Like, that's a part of it. Like, of course, like there's an element of upside to his game, absolutely. But even if the best case scenario never materializes, as is the case with a lot of prospects, like, you're still getting a really good player. So I think that's why I like Cam Boozer. Now, I'll be curious to see, like, what does the rest of this week yield in terms of narratives around players, guys who perform well, and the agility and the shooting and interviews. Is there one of these guards from the A-Cuff, Wagler, Mikal Brown, Braden Burries, LeBaron Philon realm? Like, can somebody from that, like, sneak into the conversation and really make the Grizzlies think, right? Like, that's probably the element of this that I'm most curious about. Because it's like, all right, Cam Boozer versus Caleb Wilson, that feels like where it is now. But is there a way for one of those guards to kind of crash that party and insert themselves into the debate?
David, on these airwaves last week, Coach Penny Hardaway said that in the free agency period, and that's what it is, that he got everyone he wanted with maybe the exception of two guys. So that's two max, maybe one. Who'd he not go after? DJ, PJ, or Brumball? Because that's all we heard at the end of the year. It was going to be a clean sweep. They were going to get all three. Got none.
I mean, yeah, that must be the group he's talking about. Now, if I were Memphis, the one thing I would have targeted a little bit more aggressively would be like a proven rim protector. Yep. I think that's maybe the one thing they're missing right now. They didn't get Brumball, Haggerty, or DJ Wagner, right? So maybe you didn't get that top 100 transfer. But you look at Tyleek Weeks and Brandon Cummings and Jaden Reed. Like, I think you're pretty well taken care of in terms of your perimeter firepower. Like, I think your scoring acumen is there. So I'm not overly worried about that department. Really, the offensive side of it looks solid. Where my biggest question is just your interior enforcer. I mean, going back a couple years ago, you had Musa Cisse averaging almost 2 blocks a game. You had Dane Danger averaging over a block a game. If I'm not mistaken, Nick Jourdain actually blocked a fair number of shots for that team as well. Don't really see that same level of defensive eraser with what Penny has put together. But on the whole, I think it's a roster that makes more sense than last year's roster because there's clearly defined roles for players. Like Jaden Reed, he can be your pass-first point guard. Rahard Davers and Jerry Dang, they can be your shooters who go hang out in a corner. They don't need the ball. They can just go let it fly, right? And then Tyleek Weeks, he's sort of your bucket getter. Brandon Cummings, maybe your Tyrese Hunter in terms of a combo guard who can score a little bit or play with the ball. And then maybe like your Julius Thetfords and your Josh Holloway can be your role players who either come off the bench or find a place in the starting lineup and do the dirty work and hit clutch shots and play good defense, right? So, I like the pieces on this Memphis team better than last year's team, even if they didn't hit that one singular, like, home run in the portal. And look, I mean, some people would argue Tyleek Weeks is that. Like, you could look at his production at Southern Miss and say, well, he was nearly a 20-point-per-game guy, and that is true. Like, that is factually correct, but there are questions about, one, like, how does that translate to a little bit more difficult of a league? And then, two, like, that might not be his exact role at Memphis. Like, Brandon Cummings can score the ball. Jaden Reed can score the ball. So it may not be a situation where they need him to go out and get 20 a night. But clearly, he's shown the ability to do that. So I like the trajectory of the roster. The only reason I wouldn't give them maybe better than a B+ is just, you don't have that big-time shot blocker.
But is this one of the cases like around college football coaching carousel time? The only person you really offer the job to is the one that took it. Did they get a number from PJ camp and never offer? Because he said with the exception of maybe two guys, they got everybody they wanted. We know they wanted them. Did they just get enough feedback back to no need to make an offer? We're not in that league.
I think that's the case, Brett. I mean, PJ Haggerty going to Texas A&M, I got to imagine for a number that's probably in the neighborhood of 75% of Memphis's entire budget. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that PJ Haggerty wouldn't have been worth it, but you got to fill out the rest of your roster too. And you got to remember when Memphis had its success with PJ Haggerty, they also had really quality role players around him. I mean, Tyrese Hunter, really quality role player. Colby Rogers, really quality role player. Not to mention Dane Danger, Musa Cisse, right? So if you spend 75% of your budget to get him back, well, what's the rest of the team going to look like? You know, so I got to think they were sort of priced out on PJ, and then with DJ Wagner, I mean, I get it. Like his dad played at Memphis. I'm not convinced they didn't come out the better for missing on him, if you want to call it that, or for not willing to be for not being willing to go to that level financially. He's never been overwhelmingly impressive in terms of the guy that was
he could play. Calipari would have fought like a junkyard dog to keep him with his relationship with Milton Wani.
So it was. You know, he got unfairly labeled, I guess, as a 5-star, number 1 overall type of prospect. He's never been that, and so I think you're better off maybe without him in terms of the expectations would have been so high. If he comes to Memphis, he's all we're talking about, right? He's that spark that sends the airwaves into a frenzy, for better or for worse. DJ Wagner, oh my gosh, his dad played in Memphis, former number 1 overall prospect, McDonald's All-American, played for John Calipari. Oh my gosh, he's going to come in and average 20 a game and be the American Player of the Year. I don't know that he's that guy. I really don't think he is. I think he's okay. Like, he's a good player. Like, I think he'll be useful. But I don't know that he was the savior of Memphis basketball. So if they got into a situation where they were going to have to, to spend big on a guy like that, I don't really think it was worth it.
No, definitely not. Last thing for you, David, real quick. In that same interview Penny Hardaway did, he said that the budget needed to win the American was about 7. The budget to be kind of a Sweet 16 caliber team was around 10. Is that how you view it with people you've talked with around the country, around the American? Do you think 7 mil, 10 mil are kind of the budgets you need to be in to win the American and to kind of be a Sweet 16 caliber team?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I think you could win the American with less than 7. I mean, how many teams in the American are going to have 7? Maybe 3. Maybe that seems like a stretch. I don't know if that's how high you really have to go to win that league. Yeah. I'd be curious to see what Wichita State's budget is, because I think they're kind of polling as the favorite right now. They're bringing back enough, and then they've done enough in the portal to where, all right, like I could see that being a $5 million team. South Florida with Chris Mack, maybe a $5 million roster. It's very transfer heavy, but not a lot of clear-cut star power. Certainly not guys from the high major level who have done a lot. Maybe a $5 million roster there. I think Memphis is right there, if not at the top, very, very close to the top in terms of the budget. I look at some of the players Memphis added. I don't necessarily view it as a cheap roster. Now, where would it stack up in the ACC? Like, I think that's maybe a fair question. I think it would be lower middle of the pack. Like, but here's the lie. Here's the lie. Every high major team is spending $10 million or more on basketball. That's a lie. That is a lie. That's not true. I mean, there's some high major basketball teams in the ACC and in the Big 12 on the lower side who are going to be more closer to 5 or 7. And so. I think by and large, like most of your Sweet 16 type of teams are going to be $10 million or more typically, but I don't think that's going to necessarily hold up. Like there will be a couple who get into the Sweet 16 who didn't have a $10 million roster. I don't think Iowa had a $10 million roster. this past season. They had one stud in Bennett Sturts, and that helps a lot. He might have been a $3 million player himself, but on the whole, did their roster reach $10 million? I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if it did, and they made the Elite Eight. So, yeah, I mean, the roster spending is a huge, huge component, but then you got to coach up the squad that you end up with as well, and that's where you need coaches who can maximize the value, and that's why you see Brian Hodgson catapult out of the American after 1 year. Now, he's at Providence with a $12 to a $15 million budget because they don't have to pay for football. They're serious about winning in basketball. And you look at his roster, and by golly, like, he's got a good one already. So it's it's not rocket science to figure it out. Like, you make the most of what you got in the American, and then you try to move on out of there. For most coaches, it's a different game for Penny Hardaway. He's not trying to go anywhere else. Memphis is his home. He wants to be the coach of the University of Memphis, and if that's the case, like, he's kind of got to deal with the hand he's dealt because of the situation financially, because Memphis cares a lot about football as well. Like, I don't see a scenario where outside of Penny Hardaway really, really showing something this season where, hey, he does get this team. Like, you have to prove it to get the money. Like, I think that's kind of where we're at. It's like you either have to be a rock star hire who invigorates the fan base, gets the donors excited, you get money that way. Well, the shine's worn off. We're 8 years in. That's not the case for Penny Hardaway. So how are you going to get the money to get to $10 million? Well, go out there with this team that you put together for 5 or 6 and go to the Sweet 16. Then the money will come, because people will be excited about it. They'll say, okay, he can coach. He did put together a roster. This general manager knew what he was doing. Penny coached him up. They finally won a couple of games in the dance. Let's invest. Like, that's the key. Like, you can't just sit there with your hand out 8 years in with one NCAA tournament win and convince people that you're the guy who deserves a $10 million roster. So I think he's got enough here to where they could exceed their expectations, but he's obviously got to have to do a really good job coaching.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting rest of the offseason to see kind of what this team looks like when we get to the start of the season. But David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll do it again next Monday.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us every single Monday to talk some college basketball, college football. A lot of college basketball today, obviously, with everything that happened with the draft lottery and the draft right around the corner with the combine today. We'll talk about some of those measurements and other numbers later in the show. But right now, we need to get to another break. When we return, we might talk about some of those measurements, some of the things happening at the combine. But don't go anywhere. We're talking NBA combine, NBA lottery, next on Sportstime.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Cleanliness is next to impossible unless you call High-Low Commercial Services. For 15 years, High-Low's dedicated team has been cleaning offices throughout the Mid-South. High-Low's janitorial services are customized to your business. Clean once, quarterly, or ongoing, and get the JRD guarantee. We clean until you're satisfied. High-Low Commercial Services, the biggest and the best in the Mid-South. Visit MrCleanTeam.com. That's MrCleanTeam, MrCleanTeam.com for High-Low Commercial Services.
Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving 2 purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920. If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you. This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It was right a bit slow a few minutes ago. A lot of rubbernecking delays as they move a crash to the right-hand side on 240 westbound here at Mill Branch. Yes, it's heavy on the eastbound side, but westbound a little bit slow between Airways and Mill Branch for the next few minutes until they get this wreck completely out of here. As that traffic builds up in Midtown on 240, especially coming southbound as you make your way past South Parkway. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse when your car or truck having transmission problems. Come to Amco Transmissions, 2 locations here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound coming, hear the drums drumming.
We have obviously talked a lot about the NBA draft lottery yesterday, the combine getting started today, and a lot of measurements being put out there. One that I saw while we were talking with David Cobb, wanted to bring it up. Tyler Tanner, who obviously is going to make a decision on if he will stay in the draft or if he will return to Vanderbilt. There was a quote going around from him the other day where he said, "I will do whatever I need to do to stay in the NBA draft." So it sounds like he really wants to stay in the draft. But today, barefoot, height, 5'10" and 3/4.
Okay. Listed at 6 foot.
Let's say 6 foot. So you knew he was small.
We're going to play in shoes, though.
We are going to play in shoes. Ooh. 5'10" and 3/4, 166.8 pounds. He's listed at 173.
That's small.
Yeah, very small. Wingspan.
In a league that doesn't have room for small players.
No, it definitely doesn't. Wingspan, 6'4" and 1/4, and his standing reach is 7'9". I just think it would be very smart for Tyler Tanner. The money that he could probably make at Vanderbilt next year, I think it would be very smart for him to return to Vanderbilt.
That's a great point.
And be the star at Vandy next season.
And if he does that, how much does his draft position improve next year? Because he's not growing.
No, and that's the big question. And so, if you're sitting in a spot where you're saying, it might not move that much. If you averaged about 20 points last year, a little over 5 assists per game, do you want to go back to college and risk maybe not as great of a season next year, and then instead of being maybe the second guy taken in the second round, you're middle of the second round, late in the second round because of that height, and maybe you struggle next season at Vanderbilt. So it's going to be a lot of thought going into it, but I just think that Tyler Tanner's probably going to be a guy this year, if he stays in the draft, that will be an early second round pick. And if you want to cash in, I think the best option would be to go back to Vanderbilt. But if you want maybe the best position to be at going into the NBA, maybe it's stay in now and capitalize on the season you had last year and just try to get somewhere where you can stick around and maybe turn into a rotation point guard. I really don't know. It's going to be a tough decision for him.
Give me numbers on Malik Thomas and Alex Caravan.
Let's see. So
you have them close.
Yeah, they're all kind of coming out. So let me see if I can find. Okay, Alex Caravan's numbers: height, which obviously barefoot, 6'6" and 3/4. Weight 225.2. Wingspan 6'11", and standing reach 8'8.5". So, decent for Alex Caravan. And
he's catch and shoot.
Exactly. Let's see if I can find Malik. Malik Thomas's numbers: height 6'3", weight 189.6, wingspan 6'6" 3/4, and his standing reach 8'4".
Been advertised as 6'5". I'm not going to get too upset over 6'3" or 6'5", because I think you're drafting a lot of potential with him anyway.
Sure. Yeah, so, a little smaller than you probably hoped, but...
You think he's in to stay?
I really don't know. I think we're going to learn a lot this week, but kind of the same thing that you were talking about with
Arkansas could win it all next year with him.
They
could win it all without him.
They would be, they're going to be in a really good spot, I think, one way or the other. But yeah, bringing a guy like that back, I think, would be huge. And so, I think he might be in a similar camp, not certainly the same camp as Tyler Tanner, but obviously you're not going to be growing any. Maybe you go back your sophomore season without Darius Acuff out there. Obviously there's going to be a lot of other, really talented guys that are coming in that are going to be freshmen next year. Maybe you have a more defined role and you're more of the number one scoring option for Arkansas next year, and maybe you can capitalize on that. But with Malik Thomas, it's going to be a lot of catch and shoot. It's going to be, a lot of perimeter scoring. So I don't think the 6'6" or the 6'3" really bothers you a ton. But yeah, he's going to be another guy that's going to be a really tough decision for him.
Brian, if you were the Grizzlies and everything matched up perfectly, but you had to deal John Morant, pick some stuff in your draft position, what I'm trying to get to, you come out of this draft with Cameron Boozer and Darius Acuff, do you do it?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can somehow figure out how to do that, then yeah, I mean, I think that would be unbelievable. I think it would be extremely difficult to do, but yeah, I mean, if you can find a way to make that option possible.
Why so difficult?
Because I think Darius Acuff, there's a possibility he's the first point guard taken, and I don't think that team is gonna want to trade out of that position. I think if you're trading up, I think it's going to be towards the back end of the top 10. If you can get into the top 10, I think it's probably going to be.
He's gone.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably number 5, number 6, depending on who that team is and who they like in terms of the better point guard. Because I think there's going to be argument about who that top point guard is, but Acuff's going to be in that certainly top 2. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be tough to move up high enough to get him.
All right, I'm at Tankathon now. They, of course, have Boozer with the overall number 3, 16 to the Grizzlies, Kareem Lopez.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Kareem Lopez, he's one of those guys that, not as many people know much about him because he is one of the few international guys in this class. But, that would be interesting. That would be kind of two more forward type guys that you take in the first round. But with the Grizzlies being number 3, it makes it a lot more interesting because we were kind of going.
Now, that's no stash stuff. That's him coming in and play next year.
He would be here next year. All indications say he would be here next year. So it's a lot different now because going into the weekend, we were all kind of sitting there of, okay, you're at 6 right now. You're probably going to be somewhere in that range after the lottery. You take a point guard. With that second pick at 16, you take more of a forward, more of a big. But now with the Grizzlies at 3 and kind of Cam Boozer at that spot, it raises a lot more questions of what you do with that 16 pick, whether you try to move up and maybe take one of those point guards, whether you stay there and just take best available. There's a lot that could happen over this next month.
I'm seeing a lot of this on the Twitter machine about Boozer. Oh, it's just going to be Shane all over again. Shane wasn't that bad.
No. He wasn't bad at all. And I don't know. I mean, the way you said it makes it sound like that's supposed to be some type of diss. I don't see that.
That's how I've read it.
Sure, yeah, and I just don't see that. I think Cam Boozer, is a really, really nice player. I think if the Grizzlies take him at 3, I think it would be a super solid pick. You're seeing around here a lot of people that, I haven't really dove into these guys in terms of draft stuff yet, but a lot of people that do that professionally, there are people out there that say Cameron Boozer should be the number 1 pick in this draft because of his. Now, there's not a ton of people out there that are saying that, but there are some that are saying he could be the most talented player in this draft. And so if the Grizzlies come away with him at the 3rd spot, I think that would be a great pick. I think Caleb Wilson would be a great pick. I just think they have a lot of options and a lot of flexibility of what they could do here.
Yesterday was a good day for this franchise, and we needed that. Yesterday, for me, the best thing of the weekend was yesterday in the ping pong balls over any of the play on the court.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was huge. It was, franchise altering potentially with moving up to the top 3 and what you could potentially get there. Because we've all talked, and it was.
Hold me to no hindsight, okay?
No, I will.
Hold me to that, and I'm going to try to hold myself to it.
Definitely.
I don't think that would be fair to some people I've been very critical of. I don't think that would be fair.
No, definitely not. So I'll definitely hold you to that. And so, yeah, I mean, every time we've talked about the lottery, it's always been that top 3. It's separated from 4 through 10 or 4 through whatever of A.J. DeBonza, Darren Peterson, and
Portland didn't want Sam Bowie getting hurt.
No.
Bad things happen sometimes.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's been rough, but I think yesterday was a turn to the better, and I think could be really, really huge for the franchise moving forward. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at CodesDispensary.com. That's CodesDispensary.com.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. In the wake of recent storms in the Mid-South, we saw severe damage, and our prayers go out to all those impacted. Believe it or not, much of this damage has still not been discovered. Most of us do not look up and take notice to displaced shingles, small water stains on our ceilings, and many of the silent ways water attacks our homes. This type of silent damage is unsightly, and if left for a period of time, become unhealthy to you and your family. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out, evaluate any concerns you may have, from climbing your roof and evaluating your shingles or TPO to opening a wall or ceiling for further inspection. We get paid to look up and climb. If you have an insurance claim that requires restoration or need a contractor that accepts all insurance carrier scopes, Metro Builders understands the way to restore a home or office either back to its pre-existing condition or upgrading that space. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717 or MetroBuildersMemphis.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
A long life is wonderful, but it comes with changes as you age. So when you're ready to change your home, Town Village Audubon Park is the perfect choice. Incredible location, amazing amenities, including a pool, all-inclusive dining, and on-site medical care so you can age in place. Monthly rental with no buy-in lets you make current choices. Apartments include full kitchen, washer and dryer, bi-weekly housekeeping, and all basic utilities. Landscape courtyards make it easy to get sunshine and and fresh air. Gated parking keeps you ready to go. And the Town Village Dog Park keeps your fur baby close by your side. Hi, I'm Max. My wife Jean and I moved into Town Village Audubon Park 18 months ago. It's the best decision we ever made. We have made friends here and take part in lots of social activities. It's a comfortable life. So if you're thinking of making a change, come see me and Town Village Audubon Park. I think you'll like it as much as we do. And look, new friends.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
What up, big guy? I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today comes from the NBA, but unfortunately it came from earlier in the weekend, and some things that happened last night kind of changed maybe how this big number will be taken. But the big number is the number 1. He wears the number 1, and he became the first player in NBA history to do all of these things. Victor Wembanyama, not in last night's game, but Friday night's game. He put up 30 or more points, 15 or more rebounds, 5 or more blocks, 3 or more three-pointers made, and shot 70% from the field. He is the first player in NBA history to do all of those things in any game, regular season or playoffs. Then he went out there last night and caught Naz Reid and was ejected and did not play much at all last night.
Naz Reid took one right to the chops, didn't he?
Man, he sure did. It was that was not pretty to watch.
It wasn't. Minnesota, a most fortunate 2-2 in that series.
Very much so. Very, very much so.
A fluke and a toss-out.
It really is. And so, maybe...
2 flukes.
Sure, maybe that's exactly what they need to really rally everybody. And
2 more, though, they're advancing.
Exactly. Weird things happen sometimes. Maybe they look back and say, wow, we're glad we were gifted those first 2 wins because we really turned it on after that. But they've got to play a lot better because even last night, without Victor Wembanyama, Spurs put themselves in a spot to really compete, and ultimately it was Timberwolves with a really solid fourth quarter. But Victor Wembanyama in that Game 3, he was electric, leading the Spurs to a 115-108 win over the Timberwolves.
You went with the number 1. I'm going to go with the number 3. When did this become little number?
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, we gotta.
They're all big if you sell it with conviction, isn't it?
Exactly right. You nailed it.
My big number is 3. The Grizzlies have never drafted third since being in Memphis. They did in Vancouver and took Sharif Abdul-Rahim, a great player out of Cal, as the Vancouver Grizzlies, number 3 overall in 1996. They've had a couple of number 2s. Ja Morant was one, and you can't teach 7-3 was another. Several 4s and never a number 1. The draft will be on Tuesday night, June 23rd, and the Grizzlies will be drafting number 3, and yesterday was a great day.
No, it was an awesome day. It was huge.
I had a good feeling.
Yeah, I really didn't. I did not have a great feeling going into it, and was very happy when they said the Grizzlies have moved up into the top 4. It was a great feeling.
It was a great feeling, and I want to end the curse stuff, the myth stuff. The Cubs were never cursed. Mm-hmm. And you hire somebody like Theo Epstein, imagine that. Yeah. Curses in.
Yeah, that's right.
You do smart things.
Sure. You make good decisions, and a lot of times those curses will quickly go away. But no, that was good, and hopefully that's the start to really turn things around. It's not, like you said earlier, I think in our first segment, this ain't going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to take some time. But hopefully you've already started and can continue to build this foundation to, in a couple of years you look up and you say, okay, you've got a really, really nice roster that you can go out there and try to compete in the West.
I don't know how you could think playoffs for next year.
No. I don't think anybody is. I think that would just be silly. But, hopefully
if they are, won't it be fun?
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Whenever that next playoff game's on Beale Street, wall fun, towel waving.
No, it's gonna be awesome. And
me Kim Boozer, number 12, Memphis Tams throwback.
Whew, man.
And no undershirt on it. A lot of this exposed.
Okay.
A lot of this area.
Yeah, because you'll be whipping your towel around.
That's a good look, isn't it?
It's a look.
Hide the children from that.
Well,
they don't need to be exposed to that.
Maybe hide everybody from that. I don't know if we should just
poor person sitting by me.
Include
This is not
the
what I
children.
signed up for.
No, definitely not. But and we'll see how this plays out. A lot of noise around the idea of the Jazz trying to trade up to number 1. What happens with Darren Peterson? Is he clearly the number 2 pick, or do teams get scared off of him and somebody takes Cam Boozer in that top 2? I think a lot's going to happen. Hopefully, we learn a lot over this week at the Combine as teams start interviewing these guys and really doing the digging in these interviews. And it's going to be a long waiting game, but over this next week or two, I feel like we're gonna learn a lot about these guys.
We will in the deep dive. I would love to ask somebody. I don't know how to ask it politely or non-aggressively. Wonder how much background investigating they do.
Yeah.
To not have high drama, to not have, and I think through the years, both at NF on a lot of levels, there have been questions that should not have been asked.
Sure, no doubt.
I think it's too far and stuff, but you are talking a lot of money and a high profile potential employee.
No, you definitely are. And so, you've got to kind of get to the root on a lot of things and really figure out not only what type of player this guy is, but, what type of person they are. Are they going to become a distraction? Are they going to do stuff? Yeah, it's a really good question. And so, I would
great Scott, I went back to 1972-73 Memphis Tams. On number 12, Luther Rackley.
Okay.
I got nothing on him. I don't remember him at all.
I got if you got nothing, I got nothing.
6'10" post player at Xavier. I just don't remember anything about it.
I love it. Man. Cam Boozer, the next. I don't even remember the name you said. There you go. Yeah, Cam Boozer, next him. I'll sign up for it. But now,
year before, Kobe Dietrich.
Okay,
got nothing on either.
Certainly not Kobe.
That was with the Memphis Pros. I might break out my Pros jersey.
There you go. Yeah, just all the different variations of former Memphis jerseys. I think you whip them all out and then get them.
So who would be the first one with a 12 on and tape over Morant and like in highlighter Boozer?
I think there will be a lot of those if this comes to
fruition. I don't think that should be done. No. I think there will be a let's move on time.
I think so. But jerseys are expensive, and it's very easy to go get the tape and say, hey, if I can just tape over the name and put Boozer, let's do it. So it's going to be fun, and the next 2 days, I don't know, we won't see much of Cam Boozer. We'll be more kind of trying to identify guys in the on-court portion, the scrimmage portion, guys at that 16 and 32 spot, but will be a lot of fun. Again, if you missed it earlier, DeMichael Cole, he's up there at the Combine, so I know he's getting a lot of good interviews and learning a lot, and we'll have a lot of really good content over at the Commercial Appeal from the Draft Combine. So we'll definitely be a fun next couple of weeks, next month, before we get to that Tuesday draft. And again, only the first round of the NBA draft on Tuesday, and then we'll get the second round on Wednesday. So we'll see if the Grizzlies.
Which I don't mind.
I don't hate it, but I guess
I didn't think we'd ever get to those ping pong balls flying around yesterday. It took forever.
It was. I am glad though that they at least told us. Right when they came on, they had the countdown clock and 15 minutes until reveal, and so I immediately just changed the channel back to whatever the baseball game I was watching, and said, all right, let me set a timer for 15 minutes, and I'll flip back over when we get closer. So that was nice. But yes, it did. They used all of their 30 minutes before they got to the reveal. But let's go ahead and wrap up this second hour, get to another break, and when we return, we got to talk some golf. The PGA Championship, it will get started later this week. Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio, he joins us next.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, there's some things about the Rendezvous I want to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to-go orders. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. Brett, we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it now. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Listen up, Rebel fans. Your next winning drive starts at Landers Ford in Collierville. Their game plan is simple. Find you the most savings possible. Make a trade, lower your payments, or let them buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from them. That's how you keep moving the chains. Just like the Grove on game day. Fans all across the Mid-South keep coming back to the #1 Ford dealership in Greater Memphis. See them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. When you own a Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech with the Landers Ford Remote Service Experience Program. They pick it up, drop it off, or fix it on the spot, so you're never left watching from the sidelines. To finish the drive, the iconic Landers Easy Pass always brings more for your trade and the biggest discounts to put you in victory formation. And now, straight from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that took down #1 ranked Notre Dame, the final snap of the day from Landers Ford President Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. As reported on Ford's 2024 total new vehicle retail sales report in Memphis market.
You know what makes a city great? It's the extra special little things like great museums, a zoo, or parks, and golf courses. And the city of Memphis recognized that years ago, and they have made great city golf courses. All the renovations, like Galloway several years ago, the new one at Audubon, what they did to Pine Hill 90 years after it first opened is extra special. The amenities make a city, and golf courses are part of those amenities. They're terrific, and every golf course has its own championship. So if you want to play in the Galloway Championship, the Audubon Championship, even that OPO, the oldest golf tournament around, the Overton Park Open for the youth, that's going into year 80. That's how special Memphis golf is. You want to make a tee time? They made it easy modern way. Just go to MemphisPublicLinks.com.
Men, if you're tired of relying on pills and want lasting, natural performance in the bedroom, Bluff City Health and Wellness offers Apex RF. Backed by clinical research, this discreet 15-minute, non-surgical treatment boosts blood flow, sensitivity, and confidence. No pills, no needles, no side effects. Appointments are filling fast. Call Bluff City Health and Wellness today at 901-800-7606 or take the ED quiz at bchwonline.com. Bluff City Health and Wellness, your confidence in the bedroom naturally.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A bit more traffic volume in a couple of spots out here in the last few minutes. Trying to build already eastbound I-40 here at Sycamore View Road, headed out towards Fayette County. Right now it's moving 240 here at Mount Moriah, getting on to 385. It won't be long before that gets a little bit heavier, pushing out towards Collierville there on Bill Norris Parkway going outbound. Bridal season just around the corner. Shop local. You always save money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Monday afternoon. We've got to talk some golf. The PGA Championship, it starts later this week, and joining us now to talk all about it's Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio. Doug, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to. I know we're going to talk a lot about the PGA Championship, but before we get to that, obviously over the last couple of weeks, Live Golf has been all over the headlines. What do you make of where we're at right now with just the landscape of golf and the future of the Live Tour?
Wow, Brian, Brett, good to be with you. There's a lot going on, Brian, and you're right. And it appears to me, and I know you guys have talked about it, that Live is, I was going to say dying a slow death, but I think it's a rapidly approaching death.
Good.
And yes, it's about time to get rid of that thing. I thought they were going to play President Trump's tournament in Potomac this past weekend, and then I thought that might be the end. We shall see. They've intimated that they'll finish the entire season. That's 6 more tournaments. I don't know. But needless to say, I think Live is going to go away. They keep saying there's private equity companies outside the United States, big heavy hitters as far as sponsors outside the United States. I just don't see it. And they're also talking about people really like this team golf idea. I don't. It doesn't grab my interest whatsoever. And so Live is going to go away. And I will say this, Brian and Brett, positives did come out of it. Obviously, they raised the purses. We're going to have signature events starting next year. Every tournament's going to be $20 million purse, 4.5 to the winner. There's going to be less tournaments. The hope is that the bigger names will play more often. I don't know. Rory McIlroy, a perfect example now. He's not playing as much as he used to, and says that's going to be the schedule that he has in the future. And the other thing, guys, and I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Brian Rolapp, the new CEO, first time they've ever had a CEO, wants to play in major markets on a regular basis. New York, Chicago. It's already in Los Angeles. But Miami, obviously, it's back now with President Trump. But NASCAR went that route, guys. Remember years ago, nobody was happy at the little tracks in the southeastern part of the United States that were total sellouts. Ratings were off the charts. People loved it. Then all of a sudden they went Madison Avenue, and now NASCAR is trying desperately to get back some of the popularity that they lost, and they'll never get it back. And I'm hoping that the PGA Tour does not follow in the footsteps of NASCAR. But I can just see a glimpse that maybe they will, guys, because they've tried New York, Chicago, other than major championships before, playoff events, etc., and the reception has been lukewarm.
That's a great point you make about NASCAR. They sure went that route. And Doug, you were so correct. I said good on the RIP to LIV, but you're right. It did bring some fundamental changes to the tour that were long overdue. Yeah. Phil Mickelson, very much like Jose Canseco. Jose Canseco writes Juiced, and Doug, I and all our talk radio brethren, we all came out and hammered him. He only ended up being right. I don't want to make him out to be John Steinbeck, but he ended up being right. And Phil Mickelson ended up being right. But now I will tell you somebody I hated seeing just get bulldozed by it, and that was Jay Monahan. Jay was good. Yeah. To Memphis, has a lot of friends here in Memphis, real close friends, childhood friends, lifelong friends, and it forever will be the stain on his tour commissionership.
Yeah, unfortunately, right. And you go back through the years, Dean Beeman, Tim Fincham, Jay Monahan, they all did good things for the PGA Tour, and then obviously lived through a wrench into the system, and it changed everything. This is interesting, guys. Now think about this. When Liv first came on board and Phil and Greg Norman went behind everybody's back and coerced a bunch of these players to jump ship, right? But here was the original plan. They offered Jack Nicklaus, you come on board and be our first commissioner. People forget that, and Jack politely turned them down. They went to Tiger Woods, said, hey, we're only going to play 54 holes, and you can ride in a cart, and we're going to pay you. The report was they're going to pay him $1 billion. And Tiger politely turned them down. Then they turned to Rory McIlroy, and that was the one guy they really needed to make it work. And he didn't politely turn him down; he rudely turned him down. So when you lost those three, they said, "No worries, we're going to go get Jon Rahm and DeChambeau and the rest, and we'll be fine." Ultimately, they weren't fine. They never had a TV contract, guys. They had a pay for play system. Now with FS1 and Fox, etc., they never got paid. They were paying the networks to put them on. So without it, nowadays in the modern era, without a lucrative television contract, you were short-lived, and I think that's what's happened to Live Golf.
But now, Doug, they did get Taylor Gooch.
Yes, they did. And now Taylor, and they also told me he owns his own team, the Oklahoma City something or other. So we'll see how that goes.
He has all that memorabilia.
Kidding. The basketball team's pretty good. I don't know about Taylor Gooch's golf team in Oklahoma City.
Whose career did it affect the most? I mean, you think about a guy like Harold Varner. We haven't thought of him since he left. You think about a great champion in Memphis, Abraham Answer. We have that may be the first time his name's been mentioned on Memphis radio since he won here.
Well, they all made generational wealth, different levels, obviously. I think Harold wound up with something like $12 or $13 million, which for him was, that was a major windfall. So I can't blame any of those guys. Ultimately, what disappointed me last week at President Trump's tournament there in Potomac, Maryland, when DeChambeau was asked about the future, he said if it's not if we do indeed go away, speaking of Live, if it's not an easy path for me to get back to the PGA Tour, I'll be glad to play the 4 majors and concentrate on my YouTube channel. And guys, that was a bewildering comment. And then Rahm, he says, "Well, I just don't think I can get out of my contract. So I think I'm here to stay." Again, I scratch my head. I think of Tiger, and I think of Jack, and listen, I'm an old guy. I think of Ben Hogan and all these great champions, Arnold Palmer. They wanted to compete. I mean, listen, the bank account. Yeah, oh my goodness, the private jets, all that comes with it is unbelievable. I mean, give them all, kudos for that. But the bottom line is that all those great champions wanted to compete against the best. And when I hear DeChambeau and Rahm and some others say, "Well, it's not really a big deal," it makes me cringe. It really does, because that's what it's all about, guys. No matter what sport we're talking about, it's about playing against the best and winning against the best. That's ultimately what it is. And then if you are lucky enough to win, all the fame and fortune comes with it.
Raymond Floyd just wanted a good Tuesday money game.
We did.
Doug, the next question I'm going to ask you, if you want to politely defer, please do so, and then send me a text after we get done. Don't hang me out to dry with stuff like that. But I'm going to ask you. So we've talked about players and maybe how they will be handled. What would you do with David Feherty?
Well, I think David is, and listen, I like David. I've known him for years, and he obviously, and he said it, I think over the weekend, that he went to Live for an exorbitant amount of money, more money than he ever would have made from NBC and previously CBS. So just like the players, he went for the paycheck. I harbor no ill will whatsoever, but I think I think David will fall by the wayside like Ian Poulter and Lee Westwood and Graham McDowell and perhaps Sergio Garcia. Their prime is over. And I think if they play occasionally on the DP World Tour, that'll be about it. And I think for David, I think he's had a great career. I mean, great. We throw that out there a lot, but he really has had an exceptional broadcasting career and really brought levity and the Irish accent. And when he was with Gary McCord at CBS, they were really a great 1-2 punch that you wanted to hear on the weekend, right? Let's hear what they're going to say. But like all good things, guys, it's going to come to an end, and I think David's broadcasting career will probably come to an end after Liv finally hits its last tee shot.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with all these guys. But this week on the tour, it's the PGA Championship, and we know Scotty Scheffler, the winner last season. It's been, an interesting year for Scotty. He's had some struggles, but recently is playing a really, really solid golf. What do you make of this stretch we've seen really going back to the Masters, what he's done over this last month, and what do you think we'll see from him this week?
Brian, he's primed and ready. There's no question about it. 3 straight runner-up finishes. Second in FedEx Cup points. Of course, when you finish second at the Masters and then in a major or a signature event, it's like it's 700 FedEx Cup points. So he's right up there. 3 majors to go. I just didn't play. He's never going to play now a week before a major anymore. A couple of years ago, won Jack's Memorial Tournament and then played very poorly at the U.S. Open. He said he's just too much stress. So he was at Aronimink yesterday practicing with Randy Smith, his only coach. He was there with Ted Scott, his caddy, and they were practicing and playing. And, Brian, he's ready to rock and roll. And you know what's great about this tournament? Finally, we got world number 1 and world number 2 playing in the same tournament. We haven't had Scotty and Rory play since the Masters, so it'll be good to have them both back. But listen, Scotty Scheffler is primed and ready for what should be a magnificent second half of the season. And all these guys have had phenomenal first halves. Matt Fitzpatrick, 3 wins. Chris Gotterup, a couple of wins. Cameron Young, 2 huge wins. Even Rory wins the Masters. I just think all these guys who win early, I think that window closes for them. At least that's what I've seen in the last 20-plus years. And I think Scotty's window, it's going the other way. It was barely open, and now I think it's wide open. And I think he's going to bust through it and have a big year. Remember now, he's won 4 straight PGA Tour Player of the Years, the Jack Nicklaus Award. I think he's going to win 5. I know all those guys I just named have had great starts, but I think ultimately, Scotty Scheffler is going to win 5 Player of the Year awards in a row. And oh, by the way, Jack Nicklaus never won 5 in a row, even though the award is named after him.
Isn't that something? Doug Bell, our great friend and golf guest with us. He's with us for all the majors. He'll be with us in August in Memphis. And you mentioned Scotty Scheffler and what he's done. Rory McIlroy holds the largest margin of victory at a PGA, won by 8 strokes at Kiowa. I'm not saying Scheffler wins by 8, but I am saying he wins 2 of the next 3 majors, including this week at Aronimink.
Yeah, I mean, Brett, he's just, listen, and he's had a really good year, right? 3 straight runner-up finishes in these big events, nothing to sneeze at. Now, obviously, he would like victories, but he's just, he's kind of battled through, for him, a sluggish start. At the beginning of the year, he won the American Express. Then all of a sudden, he had this miss left. He hits a big left or right cut off the tee, and for about a month, he's missing everything left. And listen, he's human, right? He's not a machine, so he kind of works through that. And then the one problem with Scotty, he's getting off to a slow start. He needs to post a good round, something maybe 2 or 3 under par in the opening round of the PGA Championship, because he's always around par, right? And then he, at the Cadillac Championship, what was he? 8 shots behind in the first round, 12 after 36. Then ultimately winds up finishing second. But he just needs to get off to a faster start. And he's refreshed. Of course, he has 2 little babies at home now, and his first little baby is so cute. He's got the blondest hair I've ever seen. But and the reason I say that is because when life is good at home for these guys who suddenly go into fatherhood, I see a positive influence on the golf game as well. Mm-hmm. So I think mentally, Scotty's really in good shape.
It's why the secret weapon forever for the great Jack Nicklaus was Barbara Dennis.
Yes, yeah, no question. And I mean, she's a champ, right? And
greatest player gets the greatest spouse.
And it's funny. If you ever look back at the great career of Jack Nicklaus, I mean, the Golden Bear, and these guys are always changing swings and changing instructors. We mentioned Scotty Scheffler's never changed. Randy Smith has been his instructor since he was a junior. The great Jack Nicklaus had Jack Grout, who he never, ever changed from. Jack Grout taught him how to play, and he would always go back once a year and get a tune-up from Mr. Grout, who stayed up in the Columbus, Ohio area. And to me, that just says something, right? Mm-hmm. I mean,
not changing wives helps.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
So Jack Grout, was he at Scioto?
Yes, he was. Yeah. And Jack late in his career would always go back, and he said it was always, with Mr. Grout, it was always subtle changes, right? He would watch, and he's quiet, and Jack would hit balls, and then it might be a tweak in their grip. It might be a tweak in where your ball position is, and he would see it, because he taught him how to play, and ever since he was just a kid, all the way to obviously when he won the Masters at 46. Jack Routt was still around. So then later he passed away.
But why would you tinker with Mozart?
Exactly, and that's why I credit Scotty Scheffler as well. He's just, guys, he is so good, Brian, Brett, and it's such a joy to go and watch him play. And the one thing I have noticed this year, he is a little frustrated, and he's shown frustration on the golf course at times because he is. You never reach perfection in golf, but he's trying to get there, and he's come pretty close. And so we've seen a little different side of his personality this year. He's been a little snarky with the press at times, but I have no problem with that. I kind of like it, actually. You can't always be Mr. Nice Guy. It's okay to be honest. And listen, we all have bad days, right? So I'm talking about not in the golf game, but just personality-wise. So I kind of like that snarkiness from world number one that we've seen a little bit this year.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different side of him.
Yeah.
Another golfer that's been really fun to watch this year, Cameron Young. Had the win a couple weeks ago at the Cadillac. That's his second win of the season, but some really good golf that he's playing right now. What have you seen from him, and kind of what is the biggest thing that you're seeing over these last couple of weeks, last couple of months that have gotten all the success for him?
Well, Brian, he's one of those guys, and I followed him for years, and he really, when you watch him play, he has no weakness. But it was always, like all these guys, he just couldn't buy a putt, and then they figured something out at the Wyndham Championship at the end of the season last year, and then Katie barred the door. It's just all come together. Didn't play particularly well yesterday in the final round there at the Truist Championship. And he's won, the Players' Championship and then the Cadillac Championship, and he was great, and he blew the field away at the Cadillac. 19 under par at that golf course, Trump National Drought. I just can't tell you how good that was. So Brian, he's on top of his game, but I just really believe that window for these guys, the great ones extend the window, but he's been good really virtually all season. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, although I think the golf course sets up perfectly for him. And, guys, the coolest thing, I'm at the Cadillac Championship there, Trump Drought National. President Trump and his family behind the bulletproof glass, behind 18, and we weren't allowed behind the green on Sunday. And Cam Young wins, does his interview with Amanda Balionis. They were the only ones allowed on the green, by the way. And as he's exiting, they were holding us up. President Trump stops, gets out of his Suburban, and walks over to shake Cam Young's hand, and they had a nice little conversation. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
President Trump loves golf, and it was like, I know we got to get out of here, but stop. I want to talk to this guy who just went 19 under at my golf course, and so I thought that was really, really neat.
When you're in that big old Cadillac SUV, woo.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of security around there, needless to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, who do you like this weekend? Who's your pick for the PGA Championship?
Well, Brian, I don't know if you've been watching Ricky Fowler. Best he's played in years, and he has 4 straight top 10 finishes in signature events. Now, think about that. Best fields, other than the majors, 4 top 10s, finished second yesterday, and that was a sloppy bogey on the 72nd hole. But he's really playing his best golf in quite some time, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. Wow. And he's plus 5,500. I just think Ricky Fowler is playing so good right now, and he's never won a major championship, won the Players. I think this could be Ricky's week.
That is bold.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you guys, I've been walking with him, and there's something different about Ricky. And that stroke, remember years ago when he was at the height of his career, he would wrap those 5 and 6 footers into the back of the cup. It was like, my goodness, he hit that hard. He's doing it again. So everything's kind of coming into play for Ricky. And the other guy I like, and I walk with these guys, and they're trending, and he's yet to put 4 good rounds together. But Sepp Straka, guys, plus 7,000. I kind of like him at Aronimink this week, too. By the way, now Sepp doesn't fall into the formula since the PGA Championship moved back to May. The 6 winners, they've all had at least 5 or more victories on their resumes. it's gone to a veteran. So Seb falls a little short of that, but I like the way he's playing. I just go eyeball test guys. I'm out there with him, walking in the practice rounds, and sometimes I get assigned to this guy or this guy, and I'm all over the golf course, and I see him, and like the Wrighton kid yesterday. Last week I followed him at Doral 2 weeks ago, and I left going, that guy's good. Mm-hmm. That guy's really good. And so it didn't shock me at all that he ultimately won yesterday. But that's what I like, guys. Ricky Fowler, wouldn't that be a great win? Popular win. And Sepp Straka, who, by the way, lives in Birmingham.
Oh, wow.
You're going to have a lot of Memphis influence. Of course, all the champs come back, and he will play. Sean McKeel, the winner at Oak Hill in 2003. Yeah. And be warned, on the golf course, back to his hometown with sons and friends, the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous will be at Newtown Square at Aronimink. Keep an eye on him.
Really? Oh,
yep.
Man.
And he's going to find you, too.
I'm going to look for Pat. Yeah, I love Pat. He sat down with us last year at the Rendezvous, I guess Saturday night, maybe it was Friday night, I can't remember. And, oh, my goodness, to sit back and hear him tell stories. Oh, man, what a fun evening that was. Oh, what a fun evening. And, he showed me all the pictures on the wall. Hey, remember this guy? This was 7 years ago. This was 9 years ago. I was like, wow. So I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of fun. Well, as always, Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the tournament, and we'll definitely talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I love being with you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Doug Bell with us talking golf, and it is so fun. And Richard Cross will be working at the PGA Championship as well, and look forward to hearing him. I think he's going to join us Wednesday, but his schedule is very busy, as you can imagine. Wow, what a Memphis Mid-South influence we're going to have up there.
I love it. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It does. Doug Bell was on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the hometown teams like the Grizzlies and the Tigers. That great location at 4542 Poplar, and come FedEx St. Jude Championship time. All leaderboard updates will be brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin like they have with us for years. And at SEC Media Days, look forward to the summertime. They're always with us, no matter the time of year. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, for all those special moments. 9,000 square foot store in Lawwood at Poplar and Perkins with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more since 1970, with all the locations across the Mid-South. Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. The official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the floor seat lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry. Right, Scotty Scheffler on the Wanamaker Trophy right now.
Well, I've already written him down for the number one pick on Wednesday when we do our golf.
That's a shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. That's getting the shock picks out there early with the first.
It's just
pick,
a great
your
pick.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank
you, yes. Before you even texted
Ricky
us,
Fowler's bowl with a capital B, isn't it?
I like that. I like bowl.
And would
I like
be
that
very
pick.
popular.
Very
and if
popular.
he were to win, I know all those guys are headed to the airport trying to get to the FBOs, trying to get out of Dodge. As many times as he's been around for big tournaments, for people winning the first time, to be that good guy on tour, there ought to be 50 guys standing around that green for him.
Absolutely. I mean, he would be a really fun story if he could put it together this weekend and win. And so I don't know. I might keep that one in my back pocket, Brett. I don't know. Maybe come Wednesday, maybe I throw his name out there at some point. But we'll have to wait and see. Wednesday could get ugly with the second major of the year between all of us. But I got Scotty down for you already. Now it's now I know I've got the entire field to play with that second pick outside of Scotty. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for What's Trending.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs. 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft pints on Mondays. Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music bingo Tuesdays. Daily specials and online ordering. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for daily specials and weekend music at the Owner's Box.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Five-Ash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. We can't wait to serve you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue. We're cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Memphians have trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or a crowd of thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next party.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Rebel Nation, get the latest on everything Ole Miss sports with the Cannon Motors of Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline. Join Rebel insiders Chuck Rounsville, Yancey Porter, and Gary Darby Monday nights at 6 as they break down the latest with the Rebels, along with even more insight from special guests. Rebel Yell Hotline, Mondays at 6 p.m. on WHPQ.
Stay up to date with everything going on in Ole Miss athletics with Rebel Yell Hotline every Monday night from 6 to 7 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at OldDominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still a bit of volume trying to push up through Midtown. In a couple of spots, like 40 over here around Chelsea. 40 East looks like it's got a little bit heavier at Wilford, Hollywood, headed over to White Station now. 40 East is definitely going to crank up in the next 5 minutes or so, pushing out towards Fayette County there, coming past 269. A little bit of radar in that section of I-40 this afternoon. Hey, bridal season just around the corner. Shop local. You always save money when you come to Weiler's Jewelry out on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we've got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending and a lot of things trending out there this afternoon. Some college football, Major League Baseball, obviously the NBA with the playoffs going on. Plenty to discuss, but over in the college football world, Greg Sankey had some comments earlier today about college football playoff expansion and different things, but did say in terms of the expansion, the 12 versus 16, he had a lot to say about it, but one thing he did say was that they've done research to show that a 16-team playoff would not diminish the regular season, and he called the 24-team field a quote-unquote unknown. So Greg Sankey throwing some things out there.
That's really rich because, and for years I parroted it. Long time ago, 25, 30 years ago, if you mention a one-game playoff, like the BCS, like when it first came along, that's what it was two teams in one game. Oh, it'll kill regular season. There's just no way we can do this. That's always been out there, and I don't think it would at 12. It hadn't at 12. Do you think it's ruined college football at 12?
Not at all.
I don't think it would at 14. I don't think it would at 16. I don't think it would at 24. Could we get to a number that it would? Yeah, probably. Sure. But I don't think it would. And forever that was out there. Will 24 kill a lot of post-Christmas bowl games? Something maybe even like the Citrus Bowl? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely would. It definitely would. He went on.
Tampa.
Sure. No, there's a bunch of bowl games that could be affected by that. But Sankey went on to say, quote, there are a lot of ideas out there that have to be supported with analysis and information, not speculation. And with something as important as a regular season in football, hey, if we can build the regular season and build the postseason through expansion in a different way, awesome. Let's get to that. But let's understand that, and even talked about the idea of if you make the playoffs too big, would you get to a point where teams are sitting guys in regular season games and saying, we don't really need this game, we're already locked into a playoff spot, and you know, not throwing the game, but just not playing your guys in risk of injury, and that diminishing some of these regular season games.
How do we know that's not already being done?
That's a great question. I mean, we don't. You know, I guess you could.
That was a question mark. Not a period.
No. I know it is, but you know, I think you could probably make the argument that if it's happening now, it's in some of those really small throwaway non-conference games.
Georgia fans have convinced me that's what they were doing 2 years ago in Oxford.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
They've tried to convince me,
right?
And I knew it was nuts.
Yes, and so I mean, I guess you could make the argument that if you got up to 24, that maybe there's a conference game where you have it wrapped up, and you go out there and say, hey, we don't need this. But I mean, again, like you said,
late in the year against a rival,
sure. Yeah. But that could happen in a 12-team playoff. I mean, you could be undefeated and say, hey, let's rest all of our guys in a conference game, and you go out there and lose. Oh, we've got one loss. We're still going to be in the playoff. We might not be the seed we thought we were going to be, but we're still going to be in there. I just, I don't know. I also would love to know the research that they've done to say that the 16 team doesn't. I mean, like what was the big key point that 16 team, that's what we really want, but 24, that there's a lot of unknown to that. I don't know,
because we used to have all those PowerPoints and slideshows and everything for don't pay the players.
No, exactly. And so, yeah, I would love to see that PowerPoint of what they went into and what that research looked like. He also talked about the future of the SEC championship game and said, quote, "We haven't picked a model. There are plenty of models out there utilizing right now. We have contracts for conference championship games. If the model changes, we'll have to answer the questions differently." So didn't really give an answer on the future of
contracts in college football.
Oh man, man, we're getting into.
What are they written on? The coaches' contracts aren't written on.
Well, I was about to say, as much of the unknown as the 24 team playoff is, that's kind of where the contracts in college football are. It's a lot of unknown.
Brian, I think the ideal playoff for me, I'm going to go two extremes. I've hinted at this. I either want to go back to 2 teams or 24. Nothing in between.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of to the point where I'm kind of like that as well. I mean, it's just too much in between of everything that's going on.
I do think last year there was a team left out that with the right wave and matchups could have won it all, and that was Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, I
do.
Yeah, obviously all the arguments around the college football playoff of, should they be in, should they not be in, obviously, the loss to Miami. Sure.
At the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely teams that could probably, if they got in, could make some noise. Now, you get to the flip side of that. The other side of that coin is if you go to 24 teams, there's probably a team or two that has no business being in the college football playoff. So
you mean that 10 versus 23 game?
Exactly. Yes. That team that's screaming off the top of the building that we got to be in there at number 24. I don't know if they really deserve to be in a college football playoff.
I just somehow want to get to a no complaint playoff, and it won't ever be one.
No.
Because 24, 25 just got done worse than anybody's ever been done in life.
Yeah, no, it is. I don't think it feels like there's very few things, especially in college athletics. There are very few things that I think are going to be simple and no argument, no discussion, nothing. Everything's got to have argument around it.
We do stay torn up, don't we?
About everything. So I don't think it's going to go the opposite direction, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
the upfronts are revealing a lot of kick times, including Oklahoma and Michigan. That'll be on Big Noon.
Yeah, that'll be
11 Central.
A really fun game, and starting to get
Big 11 Central for the SEC.
Big 11 Central. I like that. Yeah, no, we're starting to get it. We knew early this week it would start to come out, and then what day are we having the NFL review? You're on top. You're our NFL
Thursday.
Schedule correspondent.
Well, and it's already started out, and we really need the Sunday night NBC intro music now for the NFL version of the Egg Bowl. Dak Prescott versus Jackson Dart with Mike Tirico doing the game, old Egg Bowl veteran.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I saw the news of the Sunday night football Cowboys versus Giants, but I hadn't even put together the quarterbacks. I hadn't even gotten that far down the rabbit hole. That's good stuff. I'm excited about that. Get the season started. That's what I'm saying. Brett, I'm gonna get excited. I'll be excited about the schedules. I'm gonna love to look through them and look at all the matchups. I just don't need a show around it. I just don't need to be sitting down.
I'll be the
handy
handy primer.
You're our guy.
That's what I'm there for.
You're on top of it. You are definitely our NFL schedule show correspondent. Not even just our NFL schedule correspondent, our NFL schedule show correspondent. So yes, you definitely have that covered for us.
I thought at the end that would probably be the final bullet point, or be the voice of like airport traffic guy around Memphis International.
Yes.
Like the signs for airport information. Tune in to like 1690.
Something like that. But yes, you are our guy for the NFL schedule show later this Thursday, right? Thursday. Got it. I've got it written down now. But over in the NBA, 2 games tonight. One on NBC, the other on Prime Video. First one, Pistons Cavs. Second one, Thunder Lakers. Thunder the opportunity to sweep the Lakers. But that first game, Cavaliers at home have an opportunity to even the series up. Do they get it done tonight? A 3.5-point favorite? Do the Pistons get a road win?
Well, if they win, we got a series.
We sure do.
If they don't, it's playing out for the inevitable. And I think Cleveland gets it done.
Wow, that would be huge. If we, come in here tomorrow and we're talking about...
You know who wants Cleveland to win badly?
Who's that?
The Knicks.
Oh, no, they definitely do. They absolutely are.
7-game war.
They are the biggest Cavaliers fans out there.
The Knicks are sitting pretty.
They are. They're sitting. They get to do the R and kind of get back right before the Eastern Conference Finals. So, yeah, if we're coming in tomorrow talking about Pistons, Cavs evened up 2 apiece, and then Spurs, Timberwolves even up 2 apiece, then, yeah, we've got some really, really fun basketball ahead of us.
The Sabres are really going to do it this way, aren't they?
I'm glad you're still locked in on the
Sabres.
NHL playoffs, Brad.
Not like this.
Except you do have to find a new team, I'm afraid, with
my Flyers out.
Flyers out.
But I got my Wild.
You do. You got your
the
Wild.
The Sabres get back ahead, they'll be my Sabres.
That's right. But, big game tonight for the Wild. They need this one to even up that series. Yeah. On the verge of losing another team. But, yeah, the Sabres, that was... that was rough last night. 6-2, that final score. I don't see a lot of six.
And Montreal with a chance. Mm-hmm. They were the last to win it in 93 and the lone hope remaining.
Yeah, they're fun. They're a really fun team to watch. And, if they can get through here, I still don't love their chances to go all the way and win the whole thing. But... it'd be fun if Canada had a team in the conference finals, and Montreal, kind of a younger team, fun team. I've really enjoyed watching them. I think I'd be rooting for them against the Hurricane in the next round.
If you're Hein Bloom and the right offer comes along for Riley O'Brien, do you deal him?
I think so.
I do in a second. Because it's not about this year. Got to remember that.
Yeah,
we're going to have that same dialogue discussion over the next year, maybe 2 years, about the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. You got to understand, it didn't get in this situation overnight, not going to get out of it overnight.
No. And yeah, you said it to start the show of, this isn't going to be, hey, you go out there, you got the number 3 pick, that's great, you're going to be right back in the playoffs next year. It's going to take some time.
I don't want to run anybody down, but we're not getting Akeem Olajuwon.
No. Yeah, you can say yesterday was a great day and it was franchise altering, and also say next year's probably going to have its struggles, and it could be another year where it's not a great record at the end of the season.
Colin Cowherd made a great case earlier today on these airwaves about that. Remember Wembanyama is a rookie. Remember Shaq is a rookie. Remember Penny is a rookie. Remember a lot of this year with Cooper Flagg as a rookie.
Absolutely. No, it takes some time. One player is not going to be able to turn around. Now, it does speed up the process a little bit. If you're able to get that guy,
have some fun, win some games, sell some tickets.
Mentioned those guys. I mean, look at where Victor Wembanyama was, and now where the Spurs are. It didn't take very long. Now, that was other picks. It wasn't just Victor Wembanyama. He's certainly the star. He's the biggest piece. But it was, going out there and getting Stephon Castle. It was going out there trading for De'Aaron Fox. It was getting Dylan Harper. There was a lot that went into it. But to have that, foundation piece and then be able to build off that, it's a long game. It's a future game. But it can certainly speed it up and make it a lot more fun.
Landon, you know this with a lot of shows that you work. Wembanyama, is he trying to become Full Hill?
Ooh, that is a really good question. A little wrestling angle.
Could be a story arc, but I don't know.
Ooh, story arc. There you go. That's even more of the wrestling
terminology.
Good storyline.
I love that. No. Yeah, I mean,
we see the slow turn in the wrestling of the heel.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Maybe last night was the big start of that for Victor Wembanyama with his elbow just flying around.
Can you ever successfully be a little bit heel, a little bit good guy? Or do you have to be all or nothing?
That's a good question.
You could be such a good bad guy that people like how good of a bad guy you are.
So true. That is very true.
Interesting. Maybe Victor Wembanyama becomes that. I don't know. I don't know what the general consensus on Victor Wembanyama.
And there are people I much prefer as the bad guy, as accepting that role.
Some guys they play it very well. Some people don't play it very well.
No.
So yeah, you gotta have that right one.
And we were talking about golf. Rory McIlroy, I think, has wound himself into knots through the years trying to be both.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. He kind of has, and so. This weekend's going to be fun over on
we tied the wrestling to golf.
How about that?
That's rare.
From basketball to wrestling to golf. I don't know how many people are connecting wrestling with golf, but that's what you get right here on Sports Time. Very, very few. But we need to get to our final break of the day. When we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. In the wake of recent storms in the Mid-South, we saw severe damage, and our prayers go out to all those impacted. Believe it or not, much of this damage has still not been discovered. Most of us do not look up and take notice to displaced shingles, small water stains on our ceilings, and many of the silent ways water attacks our homes. This type of silent damage is unsightly, and if left for a period of time, become unhealthy to you and your family. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out, evaluate any concerns you may have, from climbing your roof and evaluating your shingles or TPO to opening a wall or ceiling for further inspection. We get paid to look up and climb. If you have an insurance claim that requires restoration or need a contractor that accepts all insurance carrier scopes, Metro Builders understands the way to restore a home or office either back to its pre-existing condition or upgrading that space. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717 or metrobuildersmemphis.com.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used? They've got it. With fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters. 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family. Driven to keep you on the road.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving two purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920.
It's golf time. What's my first thought? Miramichi. Of course, Miramichi. Sometimes you need just to escape the hustle and bustle of life, and that's exactly what Miramichi will provide. It means the place of happy retreat, and I promise you, it lives up to its name. While it might not be in the heart of Shelby County, it's certainly worth the drive. It's 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. Once you arrive at the front door, you know you're going to get an experience unlike any other public golf course in town. Let's start with practice facilities. Not all are created equal, and you will find none better than those at Miramichi. The range is an impressive 12-acre space. It allows you to spread out and practice for those long drives. They got a great short game place. They've got a chipping green. They've got a putting green. They're beyond compare. You want to get better? You go to Miramichi. You want a great competitive golf course? You go to Miramichi. It's worth the drive. I love it. Miramichi.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need catering? Moe's Taco Truck is always ready to cater for you. Just give Jenny Nash a call at 901-606-3172. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco Crunch Time emergencies.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest Crunch Time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries. Its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival Tennessee.
Goodbye!
It's obviously Crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, what I learned today, it's kind of what we've talked about all afternoon. It's the Grizzlies got the number 3 pick in the NBA draft after it was going to be the number 6 pick. They jumped up, and then we didn't know, okay, where are they going to land in the top 4? Ultimately, it's number 3. Now, everybody projecting Cam Boozer to be the pick, but you've got a lot of really good options at number 3. It's going to be a really fun next month as we start to learn about these guys and then ultimately see who the Grizzlies take at number 3.
Right, what I learned today is I think Penny Hardaway was right, that he got everybody he wanted except for maybe 2 guys, but I don't think an offer was ever out there. I don't think he missed much in DJ Wagner, and I think the market for PJ Haggerty was extreme, and I don't know how in play Brumbaugh really ever was. I think he's put together a good group for the budget constraints that he's operating under.
Yeah, no, I really like the roster where it's set right now. Obviously, it sounds like they're going to add 1, maybe 2 more pieces, but sounds like he really wants to add 1 more. We'll see who that is and if it can fill that kind of need of a rim protector, shot blocker type of guy.
Brumbaugh was never really in play, was he?
I don't think so. I really don't think that they ever got too involved. Maybe reached out and said, hey, how's it going? You know, we really like your game. Would love to have you here. But I think that was probably about as far as they got. Well, Brett, what I could have done without today, it's this story that broke earlier this morning about Ahmad Hardy, the running back for Missouri, who was shot in the leg at a concert in Laurel, Mississippi, was down there for a concert. I've been trying to look. I can't find whose concert it was.
I think in Laurel.
That's why I know it was in Laurel, but I don't know whose concert it was. I'm trying to see whose concert it was.
It took for a long time to get the. I kept hearing in Mississippi,
yeah.
You know, like it's a city.
Yeah, and that's the thing is because you're right. Like most of the day today, I was trying to look, and it was just Mississippi. I was like, okay, well, where in Mississippi was he? And then now I'm seeing Laurel, Mississippi, but like what concert was that?
Right, led the SEC in rushing last year.
He's a phenomenal player.
He's going to be fine. I hope he can get on the field.
Yeah, no, that's the big question now. So definitely thoughts and prayers out to him and his family, because definitely a scary situation. But you know, is in a stable condition now, and so hopefully he's able to get back out there on the field because a tremendous player.
Mizzou comes to Oxford on October 17th.
Oh, wow.
So hope he's fine by then. I could have done without all the huffy talk by Joel Embiid that he was going to buy all these tickets. He couldn't. No, even what he makes, you couldn't buy all the tickets. Knicks fans took over, dominated the building again in Philly, and Philly out early again.
Yeah, no, it's another year, kind of the same story for the 76ers. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Tinseltown. Son duo of Daddy Ball swept out in playoffs tonight for LeBron and for Boston. They're talking about could this be the last game for LeBron in Los Angeles? Well, if it is, it's the last game for Bronny as a Laker too.
Well, that's a really good point. It might be seeing the end for a lot of people. Beam me to the first game tonight, the Pistons and the Cavaliers. We'll learn a lot with what happens in this game, if it's going to be all Pistons the rest of the way, or if maybe the Cavaliers can make this interesting.
Coming up right now on the Golf Channel, live from the PGA Championship.
Right.
Baseball Really good Tampa Bay at Toronto. Only one hockey game tonight, and only 6 baseball games total.
Yeah, a kind of a slow night in the baseball world, but should be some fun games. You've got the 2 games over in the NBA playoffs, the hockey like you mentioned, so plenty to watch tonight, but that's all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.